Sense. Yeah, it's such a new thing that not everybody's up with the APK and everything, so that makes sense.
Okay, we are now live on Twitch, so I can not minimize that shit. I need that for the chat.
We do need the chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hector, just don't move away from where you're at there.
I'll be good here.
I'm just doing this so I can see where the fuck I'm supposed to be. 'Cause I have no clue who's
I won't be moving for the next hour and a half, so we're fine. Your mouse is here.
Yes, mouse is here.
Do you need the?
Oh fuck! I'm old. My knees are gone.
We have the keyboard over here. We need to get you a little kneeling pillow, like for
I'd rather just move the chair.
women.
I used to have a kneeling pad for doing gardening. Specifically,
Gardening.
well, for gardening. You're digging around the dirt. Like,
Digging around the dirt, sucking all the penis. Like you need a.
Damn it! If you're gonna suck,
Gotta have
get professional knee pads, not a kneeling pad. Like,
I would rather have a kneeling pad, to be honest. Wearing knee pads just kind of takes the atmosphere out of the room.
I watched
It's like, oh, you want a blowjob? Let me get my knee pads.
I watched enough
Like,
people.
who's gonna wait around for that?
No, like
Way to kill the mood.
if you've done any sort of manual labor thing, and you need to if you need to get up and down from your knees a lot, and you're back and forth, you're moving around, you want knee pads like, built into the pants. That's what I'm saying.
for gardening.
But if you're doing dicks like a massive amount of dick sucking, you want that. You want that agility.
Nah, I think you want the pillow.
No,
you want a nice velvety pillow. It adds to the ambiance of the
Hector,
room.
It's
it doesn't look out of place.
It's not a fucking princess party. Like just
blowjobs are princess parties, and until you understand that, you don't understand blowjobs. I think you are why we can't have nice blowjobs.
I didn't want to why we can't have nice.
You want them to be utilitarian, and you want to wear like tactical pants.
Tactical blowjob
Tactical blowjob pants. Built-in knee pads.
Our U.S. military would not be where it is today if we did not have tactical blowjobs.
You want like a pair of like 5'11" pants with like a holster, but also knee pads.
What was it? A comedian or was it a movie? I can't remember what it was. There's a
Hi Twitch.
there was a bit about how like you're in the World War II and you have like a sexy picture of your girlfriend, but you got to be on the firing line so you can't jerk off. So you got to get your guy behind you, your sniper spotter to jerk you off, and you have to go do the same for him.
Yeah, it's a combat jack.
Yeah, I can't remember where I remember learning about that.
That is from Generation Kill.
Okay.
It was by the same guy who did The Wire. David Simon.
Okay, yeah.
Talked all about the combat.
It's always
jack.
been in my brain since then. I just remember it being very silly.
Brooklyn, how's the lighting, sound, etc.?
Yeah. We should be brighter now.
Yeah, we are on our
new
lighting setup and all that stuff right now.
We should be minimally shiny, but also better lit and a little closer.
Oh, we're definitely a little more lit. Oh man, we really should have restarted the computer.
We did start drinking at 6 rather than like
glistening.
at the podcast.
I love it.
Okay, yeah, that's because I'm a sweaty fat guy who's wearing a hoodie, even though I shouldn't be, because it's meant to hide my fattiness, which you can't. I think this is showing how fat I am.
Hey, Kevin Smith made it work for years. We're fine.
Never compare him to Kevin Smith. That's like the worst thing you could have done.
I'll compare me to Kevin Smith.
Thank you for reminding me. I have a thing that I would like to talk about.
All right, we have a thing.
All right, I have a thing.
All right.
I think. All right, so I don't know. The audio seems a bit loud, so I'm going to turn it down just a bit, and
Tiny
I'll
bit.
work on us individually. Because I did turn it up because it was like non-existent earlier.
Yeah.
So like I don't know where the fucking audio lives.
That's fair.
Okay. Let's do it then.
Is that really the color that comes out when you add like a tiny bit of vodka? That's insane to me.
Yeah, that's the color.
Just straight clear.
No, that's like
It's a cherry limeade with vodka.
That looks kind of delicious. I'm not.
It
gonna
is.
lie.
the color looks
I'm
like
gonna
that's
try
water
some.
that was introduced to a gross penis. Does it taste like that as well?
It tastes wonderful.
It tastes like it'll get
So
you,
yes.
It tastes like it'll get you fucked up is what it
Yeah.
tastes like.
It tastes like you could drink a gallon of it and not realize you were drinking and then die.
So that was the reason why I got the Waterloo watermelons, and I took the Deep Eddy lemonade vodka,
Yeah.
and then a dash. You took some fresh lime. You squeeze like half is a little bit too much. You need like a quarter of a lime squished in there as well, and then say goddbye to your entire fucking day.
So
you are just gone.
So you guys were at my
Can we do the show,
New.
please?
Yeah. We can do the show. I won't. I'll tell the story later.
I mean, this is the show. This
This is
not
the
the
show.
We're not trading bar tips right now.
Half of our podcast is just talking about us being drunk in the past.
That's
While getting
not
drunk.
a joke.
While getting drunk.
That is not a joke. That is literally That's the new description of our podcast. It's us talking about previously being drunk while getting drunk. And the things we did while doing that.
This is how you know we're from Austin.
Alcoholism.
Yeah, that's the thing about what Austin actually is. It's not weird. Lots of places are weird. It's where nobody knows what alcoholism is. Where the norm is, hey, I've been drinking for 3 days. Oh, I have a tip for that. Have some barbecue at 11 a.m.
Isn't it more? It's Peter Pan syndrome plus alcoholism.
Yeah,
It really is.
it's like, hey, I'm 58 and I've been drinking for 3 days straight. It's like, dude.
Don't worry, I went to work.
Anywhere else in the world, this would be unacceptable. In Austin, it's like, man, I hope I'm like you when I'm your age.
Like, dude, all right, I got to plan that out for next week.
Yeah.
Like, no.
All right.
I might need to go get the fucking stretcher because I can't really reach the thing.
We could get him one of those claws that like he has to like.
Or a USB extender, way fucking easier for me to do.
But the claw is way funnier.
Is it really a podcast?
if I get a
you're
claw,
not
I'm
drunk?
not going to have any laws.
You can have a podcast if you're not drunk. I just wouldn't recommend it, to be perfect.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think anyone does that,
Yeah.
so I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, audience, does the audio sound fine? Because it sounds really loud in my ears, but that's because I'm wearing a headset. So
Yeah.
Brooklyn seems to think that we're doing okay, so let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna-
let's kick it off.
God, I think I dust this thing.
Oh my god, can we do
Would
this?
you shut the fuck up while I'm trying to make this quieter in my ears?
We'll
It's
just
too loud. I had to read the one that's the headphones knob. God damn it! I
headphones
swear, there's a specific knob just for the headphones.
I'm sure you're correct.
I need to touch my knobs.
Okay, fine. I believe you.
All right. Previously on the Surly Nerd.
Kings Row, Dust, Blood Gulch. What makes these maps so great? Adventurers, gear up for an all-new episode.
I mean, literally just name the best maps in the world.
I mean,
good first take.
he definitely named the top contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. Before I even put Facing Worlds on there.
Oh yeah, Facing Worlds will be probably the
Which
number
one's
one,
Facing Worlds?
honestly.
Unreal Tournament.
Unreal Tournament. It's a map with like
Dude,
two towers.
I haven't
and, like,
played that game in like 15 years.
It's the best.
It's
Like
like
the last time I played that was with a visual mod where like there was no textures to anything.
Yeah.
It was just head clicking. You just saw like a square that existed in front of you, and you had to click the square.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was very hard to play.
All right, let's do it.
ready.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and with me is our producer, Tony.
It's 2020 now.
It is.
I just want to remind everybody that that's the year we live in.
We are in the
That's
future.
frightening.
And our co-host, Hector.
It's going to be a good year.
You believe it?
I think it's going to be a good year, guys. There's a lot to look
Tonight's
forward
going to
to.
be a good night.
Yeah, that too.
Said that song once.
If you're new to our show, hey, welcome. This week we're going to be talking about what makes for a great multiplayer map. But before that, we have all the news that's fit to rant about for your ears. And don't forget that you can keep connected with us through thesurlynerd.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it's time for The Prelude.
The slowing down was good. You still get quieter in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's still the only complaint I've only had for like since we did this.
I know. It's a pacing
It's
issue.
always it's just you pace yourself really. You've gotten pacing better.
Yeah.
But you get quieter. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
That's just that.
It's just like it's literally I can watch it slowly go down in volume. But like prior to us pointing it out, I would watch it go.
Audible quirks are such a thing that Alexa and Google, probably Siri too, all have a whisper mode.
Interesting.
They all at least I know for Google it knows shut the fuck up.
It does not shut the fuck up.
Because no matter what you're doing, if it starts talking and you go Google shut the fuck up, it immediately stops and just doesn't do anything.
So it'll activate whisper mode. Google and Alexa, if you go like, hey Google, activate whisper mode, and you can be like, hey Google, what's the weather like today? And it'll be like,
Your phone's listening to you right now, by the way.
hey, the weather
both
today,
of our phones are doing this.
the weather today is gonna be, I don't know, fucking foggy or something, and like it'll whisper back.
Why doesn't fucking Google tell me? It's like I don't know. It's gonna be rainy, maybe. I'm just a fucking computer. Dude.
Honestly, I'm looking at it, but I mean, you know better than I do.
just walk outside, dude. I ain't got real eyes. I'm an algorithm.
All right, let's go.
No one knows what an algorithm is. It's my entire belief that all sci-fi fantasy is made up of one word that no one knows the definition of, and it's algorithm.
Probably.
It's a documentary in my mind called Algorithm, and how all sci-fi fantasy.
I'm
is
pretty
based
sure
on that.
the one sci-fi word that doesn't actually exist that everyone knows is warp drive.
See, that was something.
Let's
that
not have this
NASA
fight right now.
NASA, like, said-
This is a whole nother episode.
This is a whole nother episode.
What's the dumbest concept in sci-fi?
we just
And how
switch
is
the
The
ending to
Expanse the
that?
best sci-fi ever
Yeah,
for
can we
not
just switch
doing
the
this?
ending to that? I'd
No.
much rather talk about what are the dumbest things in sci-fi.
We should probably have an
That's-
episode that's like, why is The Expanse the best?
Yeah.
I need to watch more than half of the first episode.
Watch 4 seasons of it, then
I
come
keep
back.
falling asleep during the first episode.
Oh, you're so bad.
I mean, if it wasn't, dude got tortured, and I remember that part, and after that, I always fall asleep.
All right, let's
Yeah,
go.
long dude was being extra long.
Do you know why he was tortured or how he was tortured?
He was tortured with gravity because
Yes.
he's extra long.
Because he's from
he's-
from space. He
yeah,
was
All right,
born
I'll,
in.
I'll tell you what,
right.
Brooklyn. If we come up, if the no big news items hit next week, we will do an episode. Or our boss room will be about sci-fi lingo.
I can
Yes,
literally
I love it.
retype things right now, and we can change this episode to that.
Can we just go with the current
Let's
episode?
just go with
please?
what we have. We'll have a whole hour next week to decide
Right.
what the episode is.
Alrighty then. All right, I already press the prelude button. Yeah, we're on prelude. I can see it there.
Ooh.
Archer just knocked something off the ledge.
Ooh,
Yeah,
two
that's
things.
something else.
Archer, quit being a dick. See, this is why we don't play laser pointer right before the show. At least an hour and a half ahead of time. New rule: Hector shows up. Hector plays with laser pointer with the cats, and we discuss things. And that's how the meetings function.
That's fair.
All right. let's
All
go.
right, that's the new rule. And not 5 minutes before we start. Prelude.
All right, this is the prelude. This is what we've been doing with ourselves this week, what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what's been occupying our free time. Hector, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Let's see. So most recently, and I'll go kind of backwards from there, Monster Hunter World Iceborne just came out for Steam. It's been on the PlayStation for about almost an entire year, probably about 8 months or so.
I was confused by
Was
that.
it an entire year?
It was a long time.
I was confused because you and a bunch of other friends were going. They're like, "Hey, I'm going to go back and play Monster Hunter. A new expansion came out," and I was like, "What expansion?"
Yeah,
And they're like-
Iceborne.
and everybody's like, "Iceborne's like
That came
no,
out like a year ago.
No, that's been out for a year, like a solid year. It came out last winter. Winter happened, and it was
Yep.
like, "Here's our winter expansion,"
Yep.
and they're like, "New expansion." I'm like, no, it's not.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, not
Everybody's played that content.
It's a time. It's a time release.
Yeah, I literally avoided
Exclusives
all-
are stupid and bad.
I agree. I literally avoided all media about Monster Hunter World after the expansion came out until it came out for Steam. And so I finally have it, and I've been waiting to get James's reaction to this on the show, so I haven't told him yet. I booted up Monster Hunter World. Can't wait to play Iceborne.
Okay.
I start the game. It loads up, and it says failed to load save data. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I continue forward. It's like, do you want to start a new save? And I'm like, no. And it says, do you want to start a new save? And I'm like, no. Do you want to start a new save? And I'm like, you know what? Fine. Let's humor you. Fine. And it just starts a whole new character. And I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't right at all. So I get halfway through before you even get to the main town. I Alt F4. I quit out, start the game up again, and it's like, you just have the one character. And I'm like, no.
Did this straight up delete your character?
And I'm a very good PC builder.
Right.
So when I built my new computer, I have my old C drive there, which has all of my old Steam save files, which
Right.
has my old Monster Hunter World save file in there.
Okay.
And there are tools you can find online to look at your save files outside of the game Monster Hunter World.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I load it into there's my character. When I load that file back into Iceborne, because my Steam Cloud Save is now just a new character, because that's how Steam Cloud Save works. And I'm like, but what are you going to do?
Right.
So, but I still
Load
have
up the
that
other
old file.
drive, boot that one into Steam, and
Yep.
force it to have the new
Yeah,
update.
all those things you're saying that I'm like, I don't want to bore Twitch with, all of those I tried. But
Damn.
like, something happened in between the time I stopped playing Monster Hunter World and between when I started, where the save file format switched a little bit, and it didn't affect anyone playing at that time. But one thing that I did before Monster Hunter World Iceborne came out is I uninstalled Monster Hunter World from my SSD and installed it on my M2 drive, which is like 1,000 times faster. And I was like, yeah, fast Monster Hunter World. Let's do that.
NVMe drives are amazing for game loading.
For real. So I install it on the new drive, and apparently the new install has a new set of files from Monster Hunter World that can no longer read the old saves.
Oh my god!
So there is literally nothing I can do to fix this as of right now.
So lost all your armor, all your progression.
100 plus hours.
107 hours of Monster Hunter
Good
World.
God.
Gone. I literally started over on Thursday, and I beat the final boss of Monster Hunter World before Iceborne on Saturday.
Holy crap.
Yeah. When I realized what had happened, and when I realized that there might be a tool for this down the line that I can recover this character from, I just went ahead and said, like, well, I'm not going to not play with my friends that are starting up. Let me just poop sock this until I caught up to Iceborne. And I did it in 3 days.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. And that was a task, and I'm nowhere near where my old character was. I'm only about 15 hours into the game, but I beat the campaign.
So I have a couple of questions about this, because I'm not a big Monster Hunter person, especially Monster Hunter World, because it is MMO light
Big
world. So were you able to still play with your friends during that time?
Oh, yes. Yep. And they could easily join me for anything that I needed help with, which happened once or twice.
Did playing with them scale so where like you're playing against a level 3 dinosaur? And
it scales to the number of players playing. It does not scale to their gear level.
Okay.
So
if their gear level is really high, they can still like take shit out in like one hit.
Well, no. That's the thing. They'll never be able to take shit out in one hit, but it was definitely faster than normal. Because when you fight like a big monster for the first time, you're fighting it for a good 20 minutes, especially if there are 3 characters, because it scales exponentially, so everyone is trying to do something.
Makes sense.
So normally a 20 to 30 minute fight probably took about 10 because they were super high level and I wasn't. But
is there like a hard mode that you can put it on to where you get more XP and level up higher?
There is no difficulty level in Monster Hunter, and the thing is, it's always hard. So that's fine.
I remember playing the beta for Monster Hunter World and went, well, the game's fun. The menu system sucks, so I'm never playing this.
There's a lot.
But the game was fun.
And we talked about this
probably
probably around 2018 when I like put 40 hours into the game in my first week. But here's the thing about Monster Hunter World that I really want to say, having this awful experience, is when I found out I needed to at least replay the campaign just to catch up to my friends to really get into it. And I was going to be severely handicapped in terms of resources, in terms of progression on things like the tree that you grow like items on, and all kinds of like arena fights and everything else that's secondary or even tertiary to the main campaign that I put 100 hours plus into. I wasn't that mad.
Really?
I got into it and I was like, oh my god, I lost so much. Oh, this is horrible. And then I thought, I just have to beat all the monsters again, and that will be fun.
Whereas if you took away one of my Destiny characters, I would fucking riot.
Exactly. No. And if you deleted my Destiny 2 character right now, I'd never play the game again. And I think about that for a lot of games. I recently, and this is another thing for the prelude, I recently started up my New Game Plus run of God of War. And if you took away my original run of God of War and asked me to start over, I'd never play the game again. I put so much into that playthrough, and I'd be so mad if it was gone. And
it's how my Bloodborne character is.
Yeah, exactly. If you took that away, you'd be like, hey, do all that again. It's like, no, I'm sorry.
Right.
I love that game, but Jesus Christ.
Right.
And I had that thought for about 2 minutes and for Monster Hunter World, and then I just like loaded up the character, got to the first mission, fought the first monster with, to be fair, I picked up a new weapon. I became a hammer user.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I honestly, it's really satisfying.
It is.
And the thing about that was I could very easily switch playstyles by picking up a new weapon, and the game kind of felt brand new.
See, that's one of the reasons that when I play Monster Hunter, throughout my years of playing Monster Hunter, I usually have 1 or 2 weapon types that I stick to per game.
Right.
And when a new game comes out, I look at the weapons and go, okay, what are my 1 or 2 weapons I want to switch? Because when World came out, I was like, I've never been a ranged person.
Yeah.
I want to try the bow out.
Let's do some bow.
That's what I'm going to do this go around.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I could spend time and energy and effort into playing every different weapon in Monster Hunter. But for me, whenever new release comes out, even though I've maybe never used a greatsword, it's the original weapon from Monster Hunter 1.
Yeah.
Maybe this is my run where I play it using a greatsword, and it's a completely different game than if I use the daggers or anything else.
Yeah, and that's what I was planning to do when I started Iceborne. I was like, I'm going to switch weapons. It's going to be a whole new game. I'm going to love it. And a friend of mine actually switched from bow to greatsword when he started Iceborne. And he's having a lot of fun. He actually had to switch from keyboard and mouse to controller. And he's kind of loving it. Yeah. And so that's what I thought I would do. But I had to play back through the whole game. And if I had to switch, if I had to stick with like Hunting Horn or Charge Blade, which is what I did for my first run through, and do all that again, I probably wouldn't have had that much fun. But the fact that I could switch weapons and experience all the core monsters over again, it was good.
Monster Hunter becomes a fundamentally different game based on the
It just occurred to me. You basically
yeah.
just, like, because of my playing Destiny thing, you just went with a Titan instead of a Hunter.
Yeah,
essentially.
But then again,
you're like, oh, I'm going to roll up a new character, and this whole new world of, like, subclass exists.
Yeah,
for
but
me.
exactly
then again,
what the correlation
makes
is.
sense.
And you know what? It's been fun, and I'm finally back into the Iceborne realm, even though I'm way behind on a lot of other things. I'm not going to stop playing the game anytime soon. I can't wait to drop another 100 hours into it, which is what I
Once I get done with PAX, that's what I'm picking up.
Yeah,
so.
which is what I intended to do before I lost my character. I was like, I'm probably going to put another 100 hours into this game, and I couldn't wait, and I still can't wait. I'd be playing it tonight if I wasn't here.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
What else are you doing in terms? What else do you have for the prelude? Anything else?
Oh yeah, let's see.
We knew this was going to be a long prelude. We have a lot of shit to catch up on.
I'm going to try not to do. I'm going to try not to do too many items. Let's see. What did we do? Did we do anything? You and I, Tony? Did we saw a movie?
We went. I think we saw like one, but I don't remember what it was at this point.
Okay. I mean, we saw Jojo Rabbit. Did we see anything after that?
We've gone to see other movies since then.
Anyway, so it's been like
we've
4
made a lot
weeks
of plans
since
to go see other movies.
It's been 4 weeks since we've done a prelude, so I've done a lot of shit. I saw one thing in your notes that I did do is I watched Lost in Space, the second season.
Okay, see, I just started it.
Oh, okay.
That was my note. Is the note was for me?
All right, so we've finished it.
Yeah,
you're just now starting Lost in Space season 2. I'm so glad that they made season 2.
I'm starting season 1.
Oh. You got a long road ahead.
Yeah,
it's not. It's 2 seasons, and they're not even like a whole 10 episodes each. But it's a great show.
A lot of drama happens during that.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to bring about Lost in Space, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's a great show, and the thing that I love about it, and I'm specifically calling out the '90s movie about this. Lost in Space is a show that can very easily become "quote unquote" edgy because of what it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
As I was watching Lost in Space, the new Netflix show, I was seeing more of the very wholesome content of the original show and a lot less of the, hey, let's be edgy because it's the 90s.
I called it, all right, so the movie, I call it, I think it's late 90s, early 2000s, edgelord futurism.
Yeah. And like one of the daughters looked straight out of an emo punk band.
Yeah.
And that same character in the new show is just a teenager
and even
figuring
getting down
out
to the costume design of that film, where it's the sleek, tight, body-fitting things, and you're like, that's an 8-year-old. What the fuck are you doing? And you're like, I don't want to see 8-year-old baby dick on a fucking movie. Stop that shit. But it's in there, and you're like, oh, don't do that. Which is why I call it, like, there was a period of time where you had edgelord futurism in sci-fi, and it was fucking awful. I mean, I still like that movie.
Well, then the only that movie had Gary Oldman, so it's good.
But I was 6 episodes into just watching Lost in Space, and it was so very, very wholesome. It was weird because it was taking this very, 1950s, 60s TV wholesome aesthetic that you could sit around with a family and watch that kind of show, made it modern, but didn't make it cheesy.
Right.
Like at no point did I feel like, oh, this show's cheesy. I was like, no, this feels like what a modern wholesome show would feel like.
Yeah, like the fact they had a grown man living in their house that they just kind of met, and they're like okay with it, and not being like, you're a fucking pedophile, get the fuck out, go live in the wasteland because you're a pedophile.
There's something about the new show that I love, because you're right, it's family oriented, but it doesn't.
It's also sci-fi meant for a family to watch together.
Exactly, but it doesn't steer away from dark. It just steers away from edgy.
Yeah,
and so like you'll get dark stuff, you'll get very exciting stuff. It should not be said that the show is cheesy at all.
Dr. Smith has always been a dark character,
right? And it's not saccharine. And Dr. Smith, oh my god, this is
the
best version of Dr. Smith ever.
Yeah,
this version of Dr. Smith is female, and the actress just kills the role.
Absolutely.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a really good Dr. Smith. It has one of my favorite actors. He did Black Sails and another show that I'm forgetting right now. But every actor in the show is good. Even Will Robinson, like a child actor, you can go very, very wrong, and he does a good job.
Yeah,
the casting in the show is great.
Yeah,
I'm
the sci-fi
really
is
glad
great. The
that
CG is great.
Netflix picked it up for a second season, and the second season seems like it's done well enough. They're going to get a third season.
Agreed.
And I feel like it's one of those things that as long as it doesn't cost Netflix too much money, they're just going to let it ride because it's a sci-fi channel or it's a sci-fi show meant for families to watch
They've
together.
done it I think they've done very well with what seems like a not high budget, like it's like a moderate budget, but they work really well within it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I consider it like now that I am trying to start watching The Expanse, it's that idea of you got to work within limitations and what can you do with it to make it interesting.
Right.
And then I've watched a bunch of behind the scenes stuff for The Expanse more than actually I've watched the show.
Yeah,
and
because it's
behind
easy,
the scenes shit, I was like, this is cool as fuck.
It
They
is
do
cool
a
as
lot
fuck.
with a very little budget.
So there's one more thing I have to mention because we'd be remiss if we didn't, and I don't know if either of you are, but twice now, I've tossed a coin to My Witcher.
Already.
Oh,
I
did you?
have watched through the show twice.
Yeah.
I did it
Because
once.
I really want Netflix to know how much I love it so that they will make more and
I
more
am
seasons.
planning a second viewing.
Okay.
I just have to get past my initial thing that I hated when I saw the first images is that wig that Henry Cavill has is fucking awful.
It's fine.
It's bad.
That's-
His hair is so bad.
There are bad wigs in Hollywood. This
that
is
is
not
that
one.
is definitely one of them.
All right, Tony, what have you been doing?
Okay, so real quick, I did play a little bit of time in Halo Reach.
He last played through Halo Reach.
Beginning
to end.
I decided.
In one
I
day.
didn't decide. The Destiny servers were down. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll play Halo Reach."
Yeah.
And I got through like the first 3 missions, like story missions, and realized I didn't do the uncapped frame rate higher graphics, and I clicked those on.
yeah.
And I was like, "Dude." I mean, it was
This
already
is so much better.
It was already running at perfectly 60 frames a second and
Yeah.
looked amazing, and now it's running at 144 frames a second.
Yeah.
It looks fucking
With
amazing.
up-res textures and
and it was a very fun. I mean, the game was amazing to begin with. I love that in Reach. If you look at the maps that you play for the just story missions,
Yeah.
almost all those were previously existing PvP maps from other Halo games. Which is something we should talk about later on because that's
Agreed.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That they did an entire game out of just existing PvP maps.
Now, I playing through Halo Reach.
Not all of them, but there was a good
Yeah,
number.
there was a lot. Playing through Halo Reach for the first time with Lash, just co-oping the whole thing, and we did it, like I said, in one day.
That's the one cool thing about it is if you play co-op with another person, you actually become other members of the team.
Yes.
Because you're not all just number 6. You literally there's a finite number of players, and you fill in the gaps of those players. If you have 4 people, there's only 2 NPCs technically.
No, I definitely noticed the difference in build compared to Bungie and I guess 343 did Reach, correct?
343/Bungie did Reach. It was the
It
end-
was a
it was the ending. It was Bungie
Okay.
saying goodbye and 343 taking over.
It was a very different feeling game than Halo 3, which is the last Halo I played before.
That was the
Reach.
last one that 343 didn't exist yet.
Right.
Reach was the last one. They did 3, and then I think ODST. That was we want you to do one more, so Bungie just
Right.
threw ODST together.
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, another one, but we're going to buy you out. They created 343, and they made it together in tandem, which is why I guess it feels different than everything else, which led
does
to
feel different.
Halo 4 and 5 feeling more akin to Reach.
More like, okay.
Because you get that idea of it was an evolution of that and not the previous games.
I'm still waiting to play those. Not all. Even
They will be coming out too.
Yeah, and Halo
good.
1 through
Looking
3 are
forward.
not quite available yet in the Master Chief Collection, but as soon as they are, I'll be plowing through them.
That's one thing that I thought was really awesome whenever they said they're coming with the Master Chief Collection. They said we're going to do them in chronological order, not in release order. We're going to so you can get the story from the actual way it should be told.
Yeah.
And we're going to be up-resing them and making them a release thing as not necessarily seasonal content, but there
Right.
will be a season attached to it with no direct end date. Until
Right.
they said everything from every season is going to be obtainable in every other season, so seasons don't really. It's not really a
Yeah.
season. They just threw it on there because that's the fucking buzzword.
Yeah. We need to start closing down our prelude here. Is there anything else?
So
you did?
aside from that, I watched the Dracula Netflix series. It's fucking amazing.
I wanna see that.
It's 3 episodes. If you like the old Hammer Dracula stuff, if you like any of the history of any of the Dracula movies, and you want a really cool take on Dracula, go watch that. I did watch the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie.
Did you? How did that go?
It was surprisingly way better than what I thought it was going to be.
That's fair.
I would honestly say watch it.
Okay.
If you are like me and you'd previously liked Kevin Smith's work, you thought he had some really good, interesting stories to tell, and then after Chasing Amy, they all just went away and they were awful and everything bad happened.
Then it became dick and weed jokes.
Yeah, which we already had plenty of, and we knew that was going in Mallrats.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of that in this too. But it's more of a explanation of his filmmaking style or filmmaking story over the last 15 years. And also,
so it feels personal.
It is super personal, and sometimes
it seems like the type of movie
also
you would
very
make.
meta. It's very talk to the camera,
Right.
and almost every scene has basically Kevin Smith writing himself as a person. Going, this is the monologue to explain this thought process that I have. But it was very enjoyable.
And
it's not gonna win. It's not good.
No,
but he got everybody back for it. Literally everybody has been in his movies is back in this.
And Supergirl, he got Supergirl.
Yeah.
Did get Supergirl, so he brought in one new actor to the abomination that has been the creation of all these fucking other.
All right.
Either way, I highly suggest people just give it a try.
I'll watch it. I was going to watch it. I now I want to watch it more.
Yeah, no, I honestly, it kind of makes up for a lot of the shit that has happened with Kevin Smith's stories for a while now, and I did really enjoy it, and I feel really weird saying that, but
hey,
I mean,
this is supposed to be a year of growth.
Yeah.
This is a year of growth.
And I think that I think Kevin Smith has grown, and this was him actually showing the people like me that went, no, you fell off you fell off the face of the earth with how awful these stories that you told were, and him going here's why I told those stories, and also come back and we can talk now. We've all grown, and look, we're all old now and can discuss old people shit.
Yeah, I feel like something about him having a daughter that is entering the Hollywood space really made him sit back.
That is
and
entirely a plot point of the movie.
Probably. It seems like just going into it, even with just yoga hosers, it seemed like he was feeling what it's like to send a human into this business rather than just being a director in it.
A lot of this is, so it's not just that. It does definitely go into this is my daughter, and she is now a Hollywood actress, and I am a Hollywood director, and I know what this system is, and this is not good, but I have to let this thing that I created be its own thing. So a lot of it is an adult realizing your child is growing up,
right?
And a lot of it is the acceptance of becoming a parent, because Jason Mewes is just recently a parent.
Oh, I didn't know he had a kid. That's cool.
Yeah, no, the kid is actually in the movie as well. It's this tall. For people who aren't watching this live on twitch.tv/SolarNerd, that's about 2.5 feet tall. I'm guessing 2.5 years old. I think that's how tall you are at that point. You age based on your height, right?
Every
height,
time.
age matter. Right?
Oh yeah.
I'm only.
No, Danny DeVito was 1.5 feet tall when he was 27.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, that's everything we have for the Prelude this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into our new segment in the Weekly Raid.
That was fun.
There was going to be a lot of Prelude.
It was.
Yeah, we knew that going into we haven't talked about any of the shit that we've watched.
So
in a while.
luckily, the first 3 topics we do not have to spend a whole lot of time on.
Cool.
I put them in order of being done quickly, so don't feel bad if you feel like you're rushing through these first couple topics. Okay. Because I honestly put the bigger ones at the bottom just so we can.
Right on.
Yeah. Thick at the bottom.
Why?
Maybe it's because you're not on the window.
Okay, no, I named the thing Weekly Raid. So now we are in Weekly Raid.
There we go.
And then I press. I'm gonna go get the fucking extender because I literally can't reach that. It's I can, but I'm out of the screen and off the microphone. So I'm gonna go get the fucking USB extender.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's too fucking far.
Did you watch any of The Witcher?
I watched all of it. Yeah, I binged it pretty much that opening weekend.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah. Without the timeline map, Will messaged me on the 3rd episode going, "What the fuck was that? When did that take place?"
Yeah, it's very confusing.
I had to break it down for him, and now Netflix has an interactive timeline map.
Yeah.
that you can like get online and look at.
Yeah.
Just to help your watch.
But the only thing that kind of upsets me about it is not the fact that, I had to struggle with the timeline a little bit. It's that other people who maybe didn't know what the show was or weren't as familiar with the games or books went to watch that and then were very confused by it.
Yeah,
And that
by the third episode, they were probably just flabbergasted.
Yeah, may have just turned them off to it in what has the ability to be a really brilliant show.
Timeline?
Yes. And that's the thing about...
I would like to have had that, even when I was reading the books. That
Yeah.
would be great.
And that's what I was telling Will when he asked me. I was like, yeah, the books are exactly like this, especially the first couple, is they take place in... every story that takes place does not give a fuck about where you were last in the timeline. So you're supposed to figure it out through contextual clues and piece it all together in your mind.
Letterkenny figure it out.
Brooklyn, I also finished Mandalorian over New Year's, and that was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. We should have a small conversation about the Darksaber, but we'll do it eventually.
We'll talk about... we should do a Mandalorian spoiler.
We should.
Boss room.
Yeah, I feel like it's worthy of that.
We need to get going.
YouTube, I now know way too much about that Darksaber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I knew a little bit about it beforehand, but I didn't know that it was initially created by the first Mandalorian Jedi.
Yep. Practically the only.
Yep.
I just love the fact that we have whatever Yoda's species is going to be a Mandalorian
Yeah.
and not a Jedi. I mean, he's going to have Jedi powers, but he's going to be like, I'm just going to straight up murder people.
Instead of a lightsaber, I'm a Mandalorian with force powers.
No.
That's
think
horrifying.
About it. Think about the bounty, the baby Yoda, being the next Mandalorian to actually get the Darksaber. He's like, I have force powers and the Mandalorian lightsaber, and I'm a Mandalorian. I'm going to fucking kill everything. And he becomes the Emperor and rules the galaxy.
And you give him a helmet with ears?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really fit that head into a helmet, can you?
Oh, you can if you put ears on it.
They do have a lot of helmet variations.
It'll be fucking sick.
All right, let's... we are now... I've already clicked the button, I believe.
Yep, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to go back into... There we go. All right, now I'm in my topics section.
Cool.
Because I disconnected it. All right. Weekly Raid.
All right, this is the Weekly Raid. It is our news roundup for the week. We're going to start off on a high note, as we always do. Awesome Games Done Quick was this last week. It is one of our... Hector, I know for you and me, that's one of our favorite things of, the year.
I have not had a proper sleep schedule the entire week. I like...
They do shit like 24 hours a day, don't they?
No,
Yeah,
they
they
do.
do.
For 7 days. So
They do.
From last Sunday,
Changing the episode title to do.
from last Saturday night at midnight to this Saturday night at midnight, I ate, slept, and breathed in AGDQ.
I mean, this is the most I've actually watched AGD. Yeah. It's really hard to say that.
I fell asleep to it rather than like the Great British Baking Show. I watched it at work rather than YouTube. I watched it at home rather than any of the TV I should have been watching.
I like that I watched it at work rather than YouTube. Instead, I watched it at work rather than work.
No. I mean,
it's like that works. That other place I go to also sit in front of a computer and watch YouTube instead of at home doing the same.
So for those of you that are not familiar with it, AGDQ is one of two annual game speed running events that are put on for charity.
Correct.
Each of them have a different charity that they go for. This one is for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. I believe summer is always Doctors Without Borders.
Correct.
This year, proud to just talk about the fact that over $3.13 million raised. This is absolutely ridiculous.
So here's the thing. We were about 2 to 3 hours out. So the Super Metroid Impossible Run, and this is a ROM hack made for Super Metroid that was supposedly impossible for anything but a taskbot. And
a robot to beat it.
A robot to
something
beat
was
it.
designed to
you
say,
could
I press these
program a
buttons in this
robot to
exact
beat
order
this,
at this time.
but a human cannot do this.
Right.
And they built this ROM hack in 2006 or so. 2006. At the 2020 AGDQ, someone speed ran it and only died a handful of times. And destroyed it. And they ran this run of Super Metroid, which the first time he ran it, he wouldn't say how long it took him the first time, but he hinted at
Very long time.
He hinted at about 45 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He ran it at AGDQ in 2.5 hours. In that 2.5 hours, we went from just over $2 million to $3.13 million. We knew we had to get to 3.04 million to beat SGDQ in 2019, the last speed run they had.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, we won't do it. We might hit 3 million. That'd be great. We're going to get to, like, we had just gotten to 2 million. They're like, let's get to 2.5. And like 30 minutes into this 2.5 hour run, we hit 2.5. And they're like, we can do it. And before that run was over, we had beaten SGDQ 2019. And it was so cool.
Yeah, I got to watch it go
so
from...
much of that in the last bit.
It was during the Destiny raid for this one that I got to watch it go over 1 million.
Yeah.
Because somebody was like, here's $3,000 because I like... They literally had the Destiny 1, whether we wanted it or not, we went to war with it. They have to read the thing.
Yep.
It was somebody being like, okay, that's a reference that nobody got unless you like the Destiny.
Right.
But it literally gave us shitload of money just so it would pass $1 million specifically during that moment.
Yep. And it was very well done.
That's cool. I like the fact that there's fans of these games that are willing to sit there and watch it and be like, and now I give you money just to make a thing happen.
Some of my highlights of AGDQ, definitely the 2 blindfolded men on 1 controller beating Punch-Out.
Yeah, that's another one that I saw and is fucking amazing. That's the one I wanted to bring up earlier.
That is, like, I don't think nobody but those 2 people understand how hard that was. But just thinking about how hard that was blows my mind. Because one of them was operating the D-pad and one of them was operating the A and B button and start and select on a Nintendo NES controller to play Punch-Out. And they beat it. And they beat it in a speed run. And they beat it ahead of the time that they estimated. And they beat Mike Tyson. And both of them were blindfolded.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I literally have no idea how that was physically possible.
At the time of this recording, the runs from AGDQ are not up on YouTube, but they should be up shortly. Definitely go hit those up. If you have any interest in just watching speed runs,
if nothing else, just to give them the ad revenue so they can give more stuff to charity.
They literally give it all to charity. So
Brooklyn just mentioned the Sekiro run. If anyone's finished that game, even if you haven't, you're not going to get a lot from the run, like lore-wise. You should probably just watch it. They destroyed
It's games
Sekiro.
done quick, not games that explain what you're playing.
Yeah, they Dark Souls level destroyed Sekiro in like the most amazing way and like playing just perfect gameplay. My favorite run though, my absolute favorite one was the Metal Gear Solid 3 European Extreme Foxhound difficulty mode, where they literally did everything perfectly for the entire run.
You can't be seen in that run, can you?
You cannot be seen.
Right.
You cannot be detected.
Exclamation marks.
In fact, if you walk in and knock a guard down, and he radios in before you leave the room that someone disturbed him, the run has ended.
Wow.
So it like that's that. So
fuck playing that. I was like, no, I'm just not gonna do that.
So nearly perfectly, he got through every level in Metal Gear Solid 3, and at the end of the run, they had a singer who does who's famous for doing an approximation of the Snake Eater song, like very, very well, like practically like pitch perfect with the original performance.
Right.
They're at AGDQ, perform it live, standing there with a microphone while the credits were rolling after the run was over.
That's crazy.
And I teared up. Like, it was that good. It was amazing. The
Snake Eater song is pretty moving.
And it is. So
it just tells you the production quality that they've done for the games done quick. How it came from like essentially 5 people sitting in a room with like the world's shittiest webcam being like, we're trying to raise money and we play games fast sometimes.
Yeah.
And to this where he's like, holy shit, your production value has gone through the roof.
You literally rent out a hotel room twice a year to do this.
Yeah. And they're
a hotel, like not room, but like a fucking like actual like
the hotel
space.
like ballroom thing.
Yeah. And there are 100 other runs, and James will probably name a few if he doesn't, but like just if you go to r/speedrun on Reddit, there is a VOD thread that will link you to every single run at AGDQ 2020.
It's if you can't hold off until they're actually on their YouTube.
Yeah. Pick any run you want, click on the link, and it'll start up, and you can watch it. Just pick a game that you like and watch someone destroy it live on stream, and I bet you'll get addicted and watch the rest of them.
When you get addicted, the next time it rolls around, donate to charity.
Donate to charity.
They have some really cool shirts.
Yeah, SGDQ 2020 will happen in June. If you like what you see this year, wait until then and watch it live.
I think both of you bought the
Donate.
same shirt this year, and
We absolutely did.
And I looked at it and went, I kind of want that too.
It's a good
Yeah,
shirt.
it's like that's a good shirt.
I have not bought a GDQ shirt from Yeti during one of the weeks that it's running,
Which also
for
goes to
like
charity.
for like 3 years. And yes, it also does go to charity. Your Twitch Prime subscription goes to charity. Any bits you donate go to charity.
Yep.
And there was a run that was a Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, the Super Nintendo version, randomizer, where you could donate bits while they were playing to affect the game. Literally,
wow.
add an arrow, remove an arrow. Add a bomb, remove a bomb. Kill the player.
That's crazy.
You could kill the
wow.
player, and the price for it went up every time someone did it.
Oh,
By
I
the end,
love
it was like
it.
27,000 bits to kill the player. And people kept doing it. There was that run, definitely watch that run. But there was a lot going on at Twitch this year that was new.
That's the one thing I didn't quite understand because they did the for the Destiny one.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, so if we get this amount of donation, they passed the $1 million mark, but
Right.
they didn't earn enough during it.
Yeah.
To do the legit strat.
Oh, the donation
They're like-
incentives, yeah.
Yeah, they did a donation incentive. They're like, we're either going to cheese this so we can do the actual time fast.
Yeah.
Or you can give us more money. We'll do it the legit way, which we have to
Yeah.
explain to you. Like the person that was doing the things, like we actually explain to you how this works because this is a raid mechanic that requires actual communication
Right.
and working together versus the cheese strat, which is the fastest way possible,
Right.
which is you literally just go over and just kill the boss.
Yeah.
All right.
And I
so
thought that
that's-
was kind of cool that you can affect the gameplay
what they're
by
going to do.
donations. I
Yeah.
thought that was really awesome.
All right, so yeah, GDQ definitely like pull it up on YouTube. Seriously, all speedrunning is the entire.
They'll
community
have
is
a game
fantastic.
that they have played at some point that you will watch and go, fucking hell, that was amazing.
I know. I really want to watch the BioShock run. Like,
You should definitely watch the BioShock run.
All right, we have other news to talk about though, real quick. FX, it was announced this week, has renewed American Horror Story for 4 more seasons. And this is coming in on the
4? I thought it was 3.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
it's
I
4.
I
That's
didn't
the
realize
most,
it was 4.
The most seasons
Holy
I've ever
shit.
seen anything renewed for outside of Letterkenny.
Let's take this into consideration that Netflix basically just bought Ryan Murphy. Like he said, like
Yeah, it's already had one show air on Netflix.
Right. Netflix gave Ryan
was
Murphy
good.
all the money and said, "So we hear American Horror Stories wrapping up. Here, have all of our money and do all of your shows on here."
Yep.
Dude,
Think-
Ryan Murphy at this point for American
think-
Horror Story has everybody else handling it, and he's just like, yeah, I'm the name attached.
It's true,
That's
but
Shonda
think,
Rhimes,
but
the same
think
thing.
about
Yeah.
how much money they threw at him to
dude,
keep
yeah. To
American
just
Horror
keep his name on it.
Yeah.
because the contract was over. Netflix could have been like, "So let's just buy American Horror Story." FX had to step in and
No,
be
they
like,
can't just
"No,
buy American Horror Story because then they'd have to work with FX to be able to get the rights to
Right.
it. Just because Ryan Murphy created it.
So you don't have to
Ryan
buy.
Mur-
You
they
don't
have
have to buy
Ryan
a
Murphy-
property.
Yeah.
You just need his face. You need his name.
So-
I mean, they bought Shonda Rhimes a few years ago. She has yet to produce a Netflix show, but you know when she does, there are going to be 5 of them.
This is all right. So also in the same thing of people, companies buying people because that's
Yeah.
the thing that happens. And
Yeah.
we're discussing.
welcome to 2020."
Welcome to the last forever. People, companies buy
Capitalism,
people.
end stage capitalism dystopia. Here we come.
So, the creator of Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane.
Yep.
Recently, his contract with Fox just ran out, and NBC Universal just picked up his contract, but he still has a contract to keep making things for Fox. He's
Like
still
the
making-
Orville?
He's still making Orville. He's still making Family Guy. He's got one more season left, I think, on American Dad.
Okay.
And that's
Is that show still going?
they
Somehow.
I wonder.
they put it
I
over
thought
to.
ended ages ago.
I don't like any of his
I
shows
could literally
other
just
than
tell
the
you the
Orville
history,
anymore.
like, the
Let's
fact
not,
that it got
please.
moved. It got moved to TBS. They're still because it's part of their Fox lineup thing or whatever, and it's still going on. Honestly, they've had some really good episodes while no one's given a shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
but
his show where he can just do whatever the fuck he wants because nobody cares.
I'm sure they're fine.
But either way, now he's got a new contract to make like 4 more new shows for NBC Universal. One which is in particular for their NBC Peacock streaming service. So there'll be a Seth MacFarlane Peacock exclusive. Which if he does not make fun of that, like I don't think I know that man.
It will probably be a peacock humping something for an hour every week.
Honestly, I imagine the show's called Peacock, and it's a pea and a rooster having a friendship, so he can just say peacock a lot.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So American Horror Story being renewed, super excited about that because I'm
Yeah.
a giant American Horror Story fan. Keeping in the horror,
I was a little bit worried about that, though. 4 more seasons of a show that kind of... I mean, the seasons keep getting interesting, but they also feel like they've gone on way too long.
I don't think so, but also I watch a lot more of it.
I'm
than
also
you.
a fan of cut the seasons back to 6 episodes, and I'll have another conversation.
Well,
That
yeah,
right there.
and that's a great thing about an anthology series is it's fresh every season. Hopefully,
this
I
last
like
season,
that, but
hopefully.
they go on too long.
This last season was like 8 episodes.
Yeah, get them down to 6, and I'm on board.
All right, so let's move on from that. Let's keep down the horror
That's also
train.
more money per episode.
Let's talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a movie that we've all been excited for.
could not have been more excited for.
And one of the directors, Scott Derrickson, has a very rich, background in horror. He worked on The Exorcism of Emily Rose. He worked on Sinister, and he was the person that was supposed to be directing this new movie.
Wait, did he direct the first Doctor Strange?
He did. He did
Okay.
work on the first Doctor Strange.
Okay.
And apparently, due to creative differences and giant air quotes, he is no longer working on this movie. This is a huge blow, in my opinion, to this film.
Well, this is the same thing to me that happened with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man.
Where you can
Marvel-
tell that the movie was still Edgar Wright Ant-Man,
Right.
even though somebody else directed
Marvel
it.
probably wanted him to insert a bunch of shit to set up other movies, and he was like, "That's totally gonna fuck up the flow of my movie. I don't want it."
Right.
Yeah,
And they were
that's
like,
gonna
"No,
change
no,
my
no."
pacing, and I don't want to do that.
And they're like, "No, no, no. You see this thing where you signed? You gotta." And then Edgar Wright was like, "I guess I'm out."
Peace, dude.
Yeah. And then you know
I
what?
feel like because of his
Good on
background,
him.
it might be more. He wanted to make it more an R-rated Doctor Strange movie.
He wanted a horror.
He wanted to add more horror elements to it.
Oh, yeah.
I can
And
see
then
that.
and then they were like, "No, dude, you got a PG-13."
Yeah, no. While that would be
And
nice,
like, no.
while that would be nice, the day we get an MCU R-rated movie that isn't Deadpool,
That's great. The first one's going to be Deadpool.
I will be flabbergasted.
It's gonna be interesting. That was actually something that we talked about quite a bit outside. Was what is the future for R-rated films for Disney?
Yeah.
And I think we'll have that as a future episode at some point.
Yeah,
if we
absolutely.
remember. We need to add that to our list. That we have a list, by the way.
We're getting a list of things that we want to talk about. If you want to keep jotting down this list for
Today's
us,
episode was on the list from like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
Yes,
feel free to add in
absolutely.
suggestions. What's on your list?
If you would like to pay us for those suggestions, you can do so on the donate button on our website, or on Twitch donate, or on Patreon. Those are the only ways you can tell us what you want. If you do it through Twitter, like at the Surly Nerd, we will not do it.
Okay, I will do it. All right, CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, was this last
yes.
week, and there was a lot of things that happened, but I didn't want to bloat down our episode with a lot of this. The one thing that I really wanted to talk about, at least briefly, was that Alienware showed a new portable gaming device that is essentially a Nintendo Switch, but it's for PC games. It's meant to run high-end PC games, but in a Switch type format.
It's 100% a Nintendo Switch.
All right, design wise, it's the Nintendo Switch.
But, like,
hardware
Thank
wise,
you, Brooklyn. The UFO is what it's called.
it is a
UFO.
billion times. I followed all the stuff that happened at CES because I'm a tech nerd
Okay.
about this shit. And
I haven't seen anything about the specs.
So between what Intel released with their new super high powerful NUC, which is like basically
it's like the new Snapdragon, right?
it's basically like the size of a bigger credit card box of cards thing, but is way more powerful than the computer we're even running the show on.
Okay.
It's that level of Intel can take something super powerful, put it in a little tiny cube, and say, there you go. They released a bunch of that shit with Razer and everything, and the other version of it, the thing that Alienware showed off, was not the Intel NUC, but it was using the same kind of technology, making everything incredibly small, incredibly powerful. But I mean, this thing's not going to be cheap.
Right.
Like, if you're looking at the specs,
this new Alienware, the UFO as it's being called, it has high-end gaming hardware in
itty bitty package.
Yeah, itty bitty-
tiny living space.
Yeah.
Tiny living space. It's the genie.
And everything I saw about it, like, this worked for me because I got a Switch for Christmas, and I love my Switch. I have been latched to my Switch since I got it.
Yeah.
At some point, we're
because-
finally going to play Marvel.
When I walked into the house today, James was on the couch watching AGDQ run from last week. Also had a Switch in his hand.
Yeah, because
Always
I
has a
got
Switch.
Fire Emblem, and I've just been doing nothing but playing fucking Fire
There was
Emblem.
a Fire Emblem run at AGDQ, by the way.
Well, I don't want to watch it because this is my
You
first
can
Fire
watch
Emblem
Fire
game
Emblem
that
while you
I've ever
play
played.
Fire
Oh,
Emblem,
that's fair.
wearing
I've never
Fire
played
Emblem
one before.
pajamas.
Yeah,
You got to meta this shit.
So yeah, I absolutely love it. And the idea that somebody was like, "Hey, by by the way, we're going to try and fit a PC into a Switch-like thing. Instead of being like a lot of the internet that was just like, haha, that's a kind of a novelty concept. I was the one that went, wait, I can put my Steam account on this and use it?
Yeah.
Like when I play Steam games when I'm playing on my computer, I'll be playing like an XCOM. I'll be playing, Civilization, things that are very mouse and keyboard dependent, and I feel comfortable in that environment. But if Hector buys me a copy of The Witcher 3, which I do have now, I look at that as going, man, that's like a 200-hour investment. And I can't just sit in front of my computer for 200 hours and just do that. When a game specifically has so many side quests.
Right.
Maybe in the
and
main...
ones that you want to play.
Maybe in the main game, I'll sit at my computer and play the main game.
Yeah, but
the
side quests on the shitter. Like, that's the thing.
So when Alienware is like, by the way, this is going to be expensive, but we're essentially doing a Nintendo Switch, but you can put your Steam account on it. I'm like, I am all in, bitches.
It is strong enough to
not just that.
I play these games.
And I totally get your deal with like side quests. Yeah, absolutely. For The Witcher 3, big game. My big thing for it would be all the indie games I don't play in front of my computer because I'd rather be playing the big games.
There you
like
go.
Ori and the Blind Forest,
something you really want to spend your time on. That's the PC game.
Yep.
Yeah,
but you can sit down on your couch, watch a movie, and be like,
Yeah.
I can do a little platforming along the way.
I mean, Journey, perfect platform for Journey. Things like that. Any little indie game that you.
Although
could
to be fair, I'm going to go
play.
to Journey's defense and be like, you should be playing that on a 100-inch television screen with headphones
Journey's
on.
Yeah, in a pitch dark room
right.
with like
And
nothing
then
but like a support animal and like maybe a drink.
Some alcohol and some tissues because fucking prepare to cry.
Yeah, prepare to cry and you're gonna cry
that.
and you're gonna be like, why am I
Journey
crying?
will make you cry, all right?
Yeah.
If you do not cry at the end of Journey, then you have no soul.
and you won't know why you're crying.
You don't know.
I didn't know why.
When I beat Flower, I was crying and I was like, wow, why is it? Oh, I know why this is so sad. Because pollution.
So the one thing that I do appreciate about the Nintendo Switch form factor, because honestly, like I was thinking, the moment I saw it, I looked at it and I was like, what can you do to add a controller aspect to a screen and make it portable? And it's the sides. Like, you can't put it on the top and bottom because that's not how you hold a thing.
Yeah, that's not how you hold a thing.
And you can't just, put it entirely on the bottom or entirely on the top. It's not going to function that way.
Yeah.
And the one thing I really love about this design is that the A, B, X, Y buttons are in the correct locations. Like, that's the one thing. I'm like, it could literally just be a switch with the buttons in the right order and I'll be happy.
Where do they have the triangle, circle, square, X buttons?
Those buttons don't exist because those aren't letters and they should not be on a controller.
So we don't have a price for the UFO yet. We don't know
letter.
all of the details about it. We know that it is a thing that will exist at some point in the near future and that Alienware is working on it. And being that it's Alienware, the brand alone is going to make it a bit pricey. But still, this is something that I would honestly want to invest in.
Yeah.
Well, this is their...
It seems like a good idea, and there's a lot of indie games that I don't play that I would love to pick up.
Yeah, I believe Dell is the one that owns Alienware now.
Yes,
Oh yeah, they are.
So Alienware already had a shitload of money prior to this, but whenever they got bought by Dell, this is their high-end gaming thing, and this is kind of the PC marketplace coming into the almost console gaming market.
It is.
That is outside of Microsoft entering it.
There was a time somewhere in the between 2010 and 2020 where the prefab gaming PC market kind of died because everyone decided I can build my own for cheap. So
yeah, the dude I'm getting at Dell was like, you're also getting ripped off for like $800.
So these days, probably not a lot of people buy Alienwares or Voodoo Machines or Falcon Northwest.
Unless they're getting the laptops.
Right.
And,
the laptop market is
here's
great
the
for
thing
these
is
companies,
that
but
there's
not
been this
not the
weird
towers.
bridge that's happening right now where the idea was we need to make our gaming consoles live up to what our high-end PCs are.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for a while. And nobody's kind of looked at it and gone, okay, so where do we meet in the middle on this? So we take all of these like consoles that are becoming high-end gaming PCs. Let's be honest here. We look at the PS5 specs. We look at the new Xbox specs. And we're like, that's a PC.
Nice.
But just in console form.
Yeah.
Now
it is a very well-priced PC.
Yeah.
Better than any tower you could get for that same price point is the console.
Right.
But it doesn't run the other shit.
But you have people trying to make like a Steam box and stuff like that, and it's just not working. It's not working. It's not working.
They tried Steam box for a while.
And we can't figure out why it's not working. And now we have Alienware coming in being like, the Switch is a cool concept. Why don't we do that for PC gaming?
Right.
And now we're getting to that sweet spot in the middle
Yeah.
where it's like it'll have that power, it'll have that portability, and now it's like having PC gaming on the go.
Yeah, maybe
It's
we
got-
didn't need a Steam box that was like better than every like tower PC. Maybe we needed a Steam box that was portable so that I could play Ori and the Blind Forest while I'm on the bus.
It's not Ori and the Blind Forest because it's if you look at the Nintendo Switch and one of the first games they announced was Skyrim. They're like, hey, the Switch has got Skyrim, and then Alienware's over here like, yeah, well, we got Witcher 3, so like, fuck off, please.
Think about
like, that's the difference. Like anything can run Skyrim. We're actually playing video
But
games.
the Switch runs Witcher 3.
I was gonna say,
does it
like,
now?
It's literally on the Switch now.
It's on the
cool.
it's on the Switch now, and like my toaster can run Skyrim. But when I saw the
Fine,
Switch,
my joke went away. It's fine.
literally the only game that ever made me go like, oh my god, I need to buy a Switch was a game called Golf Story, and I cannot wait to play this
I've
game.
heard good things about this.
Yes, and as soon as I get a Switch, it will be the first game I buy and the first game I play.
My favorite Vampire the Masquerade YouTuber, like her and her husband play Golf Story, and like obsesses about it. And I'm like, but you guys, that doesn't seem like
it
would
seems
be a
like the
game you
coolest
guys
game
play.
I've ever seen, and I'm not a fan of golf. Like
That's
seems
what
like,
she was saying. She's like, I'm not a fan of golf, but we love this game.
Yeah. Yeah,
There
so
was a
like,
game that came out. I think it was.
and it's games like that really intrigue me about the Switch, and there's so many indie games like that on Steam that I would love to be able to play portably because I'm never gonna sit down and in my fucking DX Racer on my 1440p 144 hertz monitor, and I'm not gonna load up Golf Story. I'm gonna load up
Okay, we
Monster
need to get
Hunter
to
World.
the news.
Witcher
Holy
3.
crap, we're
Or
getting
Witcher
distracted.
3.
Real quick, I just want to mention, so right now is a prime time to get into the world of X-Men in comics.
Do that.
The Dawn of X and Powers of X series with Jonathan Hickman have been some of the best, the quintessential, I will call them right now, even though the run isn't even done, quintessential X-Men comics to pick up. Ooh. That being said, it was announced there's going to be a X Factor series coming out that's going to be part of this new Dawn of X series. Now, if you're not familiar with the X Factor group as much as I am, just know this. X Factor tends to be the darker side of the X-Men. One of the last runs was about Cyclops being the leader of doing some things with X Factor. They're not quite as dark as
murdering a lot of people.
I was gonna ask for a good example.
They're not quite as dark as X Force. X Factor
Okay,
is still like
X Force or X Factor, where Cyclops straight up murders a lot of people.
X Force is like murder everyone. X Force is like, or X Factor is kind of like, all right, we're here.
A little bit of murder.
A little bit of murder, but yeah,
Try not to murder.
right. Try not to murder. X Force is like straight up
X-Force
murder.
is like, your job is to murder.
Right.
Okay.
So X Factor is going to be getting this new kind of Dawn of X series, and the team itself is fascinating because we've got Prodigy Polaris, who's a favorite of mine, Rachel Gray, iBoy, and Dakin. Wolverine's not son-ish.
KK.
The idea behind this team is not just, hey, let's take these kind of C and D list X-Men characters and put them in a series, but make them relevant and important in the context of this new X-Men universe where there's very few mutants and they're trying to figure out how to bring more mutants back to the world. Obviously, there's this kind of like...
Have they tried fucking?
So there's a doctrine right now that like basically being... polyamory is a thing now in the X-Men universe.
It's the Olympics. It's
More
like
fucking.
everyone's
It's a lot
fucking
of
everyone.
fucking.
Doesn't matter where you're from.
So Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine are the only three X-Men that actually share a room that have connecting doors.
Yeah.
Right?
I
That's
remember
the
whenever
thing.
I remember when they put that in there and they saw the map, like the map of the X-Men mansion. There was a new door.
Yeah, there's
They got
the
added,
only
and they're
ones.
Like, hey guys, we knew the three of you were always next to each other, but now there's a new door.
Yeah, so they are actually fucking... But these five characters specifically, when they combine their powers, actually have the ability to resurrect dead mutants. Ooh. And that is the focal point of this series. This idea of...
a lot of dead mutants.
So a mutant dies in issue number 1, spoilers, that hasn't come out yet. And they bring these 5 mutants together to resurrect this person. Now, resurrection in X-Men is a thing that's happened often, time after time after time.
Of course, comic books.
So what they're trying to do with this is not only... they want to put rules on resurrection, is what they're doing.
Ooh.
They're like, oh, there are people that
is
are
bold.
required
I have
to
a-
like...
It's a bold move, Kyle.
resurrect
I'm throwing out a term
Yeah.
here for this. X-romancy.
Yes, that's
It's
exactly.
X-romancy because
I
they
like
also
that.
need to fuck them to make more babies so they can have more X-Men.
That went dark.
So it's got
I
romance.
was gonna say, I
and
loved
X
it
and
until we
necromancy.
had to-
until
we had-
fucking dead people happen.
Right up until I was.
Here's
like,
the thing.
boning
There's
a dusty
nothing wrong
vagina.
with fucking dead people. They can't call the cops.
Thing about fucking dead people, just probably shouldn't.
I mean, if I'm bringing somebody back from the dead, rule number one, I get to fuck you. So I brought you back from the dead. You have to be.
That's
if I
entitlement.
die,
That's white people entitlement.
That is, yet Tony,
that is
your privilege is showing.
That is necromancy
Your
entitlement.
privilege is showing.
No, that is necromancy entitlement because necromancers are awful people, as they have Diablo taught us many times.
Yeah.
But this
They're
is
also
really
all white.
fascinating because they're saying right now that like nobody can just come back from the dead in the X-Men universe anymore.
Okay.
It takes a specific group of people to do it,
I like
and there
it.
are going to be rules
Okay.
that are put in place as to when and
Necromancy.
why
Yeah.
they would be doing.
We can't just go visit Constantine because
Right.
it's the MCU.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, different universe.
So
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by
Same thing,
this.
not
I
same.
think X Factor is going to give us a really cool view on death and rebirth in the Marvel universe, and I'm hoping that if it has very strict rules as to how rebirth or reincarnation or whatever happens, they stick with it because there is a long line of just X-Men characters just coming back from the dead casually.
Yeah.
So let's.
Hey, I'm back.
I mean, Jean Grey. Let's just talk to her for
well, I
5
mean,
seconds.
she was the.
I
the
think we don't
start.
have
She was
enough
like the
time to
first.
talk
Yeah, no,
to
she-
all the
she was-
different versions of Jean Grey that
She
have
was
come
the
back from the
first.
dead.
She was the first ecromancy. I'm still sticking with that term. I fucking love it. I'm just gonna keep running with it. She was.
There's
the
no
first
way she
one.
was the first.
She was the
It
first.
was like
one.
the 70s. Someone had to have come back to
the
life.
X-Men. It was
For the X-Men, she was the first one that fucked up
was.
time. She was the one that fucked up.
Oh, but she was the first one who died and came back, though?
Yeah, she was the
Yeah,
first
she was
one
the
that
first
died and came back.
Wow.
She fucked up time. Jean Grey.
I guess they probably weren't killing X-Men
Jean
before
Grey.
the 70s.
There weren't a lot of superhero deaths before then.
Yeah,
Jean
yeah,
Grey
yeah.
was a big deal.
Yeah, so there's two things. So Cyclops is the worst X-Men ever because he's the worst. Jean Grey is actually the worst because she has fucked up all of the X-Men.
Hey, Jean Grey has an excuse.
Oh, she's possessed by a weird spirit demon monster that travels through space and time trying to find little girls that got awoken at some point.
No, not at all. That's not where I was going with that.
That's the entire story of the Phoenix.
No, it's not.
That's the entire story of the
There's
Phoenix.
a very
The
dark
Phoenix-
bit of the Phoenix story where she was basically mind melded
Oh, no.
and raped, like,
No,
for
that's what I'm saying.
years.
That entity, the Phoenix, is a horrible piece of shit entity that goes through trying to be like, I'm gonna fuck a little girl up real hardcore. And some reason that's everybody's favorite story. The Phoenix is awful.
That's another
It's a-
boss room that we should get into.
It's a whole other story.
Where we
Yeah,
talk
a
about the
whole
Phoenix
other
Force.
We just
episode.
explain the Phoenix and why it's the worst thing.
Somebody
that ever
open up a
happened.
notepad file and keep
Right.
track of all
We've
the
mentioned
boss
like
rooms.
5 at this point.
We've gotten so far from Golf Story.
Let's talk really quick about DC Black Label.
Yeah.
There was a big announcement that came out this last week that DC Comics, DC Black Label, is no longer going to be soliciting what their titles are so far in advance as they have been previously.
That's a good idea.
And the reason for this is that a lot of these titles,
Delays.
which
Delays
are
is
only
the
like 2 or 3 issue comics,
Right.
And there's some of the best DC work out there right now.
Oh, agreed.
Is that delays, but also comics like the new Harleen comic that came out, they lost their artist in the 3rd and final book.
That's awful.
What DC's noticing with their Black Label titles, there are people that really want to invest themselves and make great stories. And doing that is taking time and energy and effort. And by soliciting, I mean telling the comic book retailers this is when the books are going to be
they
coming
get a book
out.
like Diamond Distributor releases a book to all of these comic book stores.
Yeah.
And it's a big fucking like
yeah.
It's an encyclopedia.
And I was gonna say encyclopedia, but it's closer to like a Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
It's very thin pages.
It's a fat catalog.
It's fat and it has all of the books from every company that's coming out with generally a picture of the covers,
Yeah.
sometimes some artwork from the books,
And, like, one or two
generally a
sentences.
description, like a couple paragraphs of the overall story for either that issue or the overall arcing thing.
Yeah.
Something that is a piece of paper prior to the internet's existence where you can go, hey, comic book nerd, you like X-Men. This is what's going to happen in it. Would you like to pre-order these comic books so you know what your sales are going to be? It gives everybody a little bit of a teaser. It's your trailer for a comic book.
Right.
Before we had, trailers for comic
But
books.
now there are trailers for comic books, and they're awesome.
But
so the solicitation of this is cool. I just saw the first 6 issues of the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey comic that's coming out for DC Black Label, and holy shit, I really want to read that because it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
but here's the problem: is that DC's been
But the fact
doing
that
this kind of the old school way for the DC Black Label, which was we announce in advance when these comics are coming out, and because the people writing DC Black Label are taking I don't want to say that people who do not write monthly comics don't take care of the titles they produce, because I know that they do.
They do.
But the people that are working on Black Label, because it is more adult content and they only have 3 to 4 issues to write,
well, let's be
they
really
make it very, very hyper focused. And so they lose a lot of time, or they'll get frustrated and have to delay by a month, or something like in the Harleen comic, the artist quits because it's too frustrating. Basically, DC's coming out and saying, all right, for when it comes to DC Black Label, we will only give you the timeline when it's coming out. Basically, after it's done, that means we have written it, we have basically published it, and you know that it will be coming out day and date when it's supposed to be getting released.
This is honestly something I kind of want for the comics book industry to kind of start doing overall. And this is just because, as a person who buys comic books, one of the comic books that I was really into was All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
It was
God,
great.
it's a great comic.
It was wonderful. The only problem was there was about a 3-year gap between issues.
Well, look at
they
the
just
art.
straight up just
And
weren't
this is the point.
making them.
This is the point that I'm really reticent to make, especially being the least comic book savvy person on the panel. But when I see the art for Black Label, it reminds me a lot more of stuff like Kingdom Come, like the kind of art
Alex Ross.
that really, really takes time to make. When I think about Batman Damned, when I think about White Knight, I look at the art and I think God.
Art does take a very long time, and I'm not talking
but
about that
the art
just in the
is so
drawing,
much-
the writing of it.
Well,
when
sure,
you're trying to
sure.
tell these more
Yeah.
adult, more interesting, more complex stories, you can. Honestly, they're both complicated. When you have the how am I going to combine all these other story characters together to make a thing?
Yeah.
Versus how am I tell this really personal story or this super ultra violent story, or how do I tell these things? So the artistry on both sides takes more time, I feel.
And we did like me and James are both read I'm pretty sure he's caught up. I'm not, Last Night on Earth, right, for the new Batman stuff. I'm pretty sure that's a Black Label. If not, it's adjacent to it. But the art for that, the art for stuff like Damned is just, and I'm gonna say this, and I hope I don't draw too much controversy for it, but it is a step above what we get from normal comic book art. It is more detailed. It is a lot more photorealistic. And that is the part that I can see. Writing, yes. And writing usually happens long before a comic book is ever inked.
I mean, Batman Damned was basically, it wasn't
it's
Alex Ross,
gorgeous.
but I mean, it was every section was basically a painting.
One of the things is
exactly. So when I
if
see
you're
something
using
like
Alex
that,
Ross,
and I hear,
it literally is every single frame, every single shot you're seeing is a painting,
Right.
Which
And
is one of the reasons why Alex Ross takes fucking forever to
Right.
make anything, because he's making an actual painting for every single
and I see
thing.
a lot of that effort in a lot of the DC Black Label titles. So when I hear that, hey, maybe we shouldn't announce, years in advance what we're doing because we might not keep that schedule, I get it. I 100% get it.
There's a lot of artists. Whenever you look at, a lot of times when you look at lower end comics, Boom Studios stuff.
Sure.
You look at these Ash versus whatever the fuck Boom Studios is putting out.
Yeah.
And the artists, a lot of times they're learning. They're younger people who are just breaking into the industry, and you look at it and you're like, yeah, the artwork kind of sucks. Your coloring kind of sucks. The story's fun. You're learning. I'm not paying a lot of money for this. I get it.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm getting to the point of Black Label, something that's supposed to be artists at the height of their craft versus for writers and art, actual artists.
I mean, for
inkers
all
and
intents and
painters.
purposes, Black Label is their new Vertigo.
Yeah,
It is.
That's what I'm expecting to have is even Vertigo put out some shit fucking titles. So I'm expecting it to be the creme de la creme. It has to be the top. It is meant to be. These are the stories that we truly want to tell for a specific audience, and we know what we're doing, and we are at the top of our game, and that's what we're getting, and that's what I'm expecting from this. And the idea of pushing back, not necessarily pushing back dates, but just not putting the dates out until the fucker's ready to print is so refreshing.
It's nice.
Mostly because I've gotten burned so many times, like All-Star Superman.
Batman White Knight, man.
Batman White Knight.
Batman White Knight is an amazing
Hell, the
book.
fucking
But
other one that we've just been reading.
Well, I was talking about
Last Night
that.
on
Yeah,
Earth.
Last Night on Earth.
Yeah, seriously.
Gorgeous.
Please. Give it the time it needs.
Yeah, for
All
real.
right, we have a couple more quick things I just want to go over to wrap up our news.
Yeah.
This next one was a For Hector one. Apparently HBO is going to be making a TV series out of the movie Parasite.
So Bong Joon-ho, director of a lot of great Korean movies, came out with a movie this year that was honestly my movie of the year. And
Still need to go see it.
I've seen a lot of good movies. Yeah, neither of you have seen it.
I've been told by like 4 people that I need to see
You do need
Parasite,
to
and
see
I was
it,
like,
yeah.
okay, 4 people that don't know each other told me to watch this.
Yeah.
Fuck, I've got to see this movie.
So this is an incredible movie. Watch it as soon as you can. But yeah, there's an HBO series based on this title, and because I want to spoil literally nothing about this movie and just tell you to go see it, just go fucking see it.
Okay,
if
but
you can.
is this news announcement an exciting or not exciting?
well, it's not
I don't
just.
know.
It's not
okay,
just.
let me ask you this: before you've watched it, was the news that Watchmen was getting an HBO series exciting or trepidatious? Both.
yeah, it was.
Probably both. That's exactly how I feel about this. That's how much
Wow,
I
okay.
respect
All right, so
Parasite.
one of the things of this
that
is
that movie is art. Period. There's
Adam
no
McKay,
one who will convince me
Adam
otherwise.
McKay's the one that's pushing for this. Adam McKay has a wonderful working relationship with HBO,
Yeah.
and is producing and working on some of the best stuff that has been on HBO for a very long time. He produces Vice, which is the
Yeah.
best
Vice
news
is
program that kind of exists right now,
For real.
And then he also does Succession outside of his own.
I've
work
heard it. I've
station.
heard Succession is good. I've never watched it.
It's. Would you like? Do you like Arrested Development, but want it to be very serious?
I've never had that thought, but that sounds cool.
That's kind of what it is, because you look at Arrested Development, you're like, I hate all of these people. They're awful and bad at everything, but now it's very...
now they control the
now
world.
It's drama.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, but they're also still horrible pieces of shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess final word on this. I'll watch what they put out, but I mean,
It's HBO. They've knocked everything out of the fucking
and I'm
park.
sure it'll be great, but definitely see this movie and decide
You
for
brought
yourself.
up Watchmen. Was that not amazing?
It was. Watchmen was absolutely
Does
amazing.
HBO not know what they're doing at this point? Do they not give the money to the right people in the right hands to make the things that people are going to go, fuck, we need this.
I've only
we need
seen-
somebody to make Parasite
Yeah.
be the new Chernobyl.
The
We
only
need somebody to
the
do
only
that
bad
shit.
thing I've ever seen on HBO was True Detective season 2. So yeah, I mean,
Every now and then somebody has a bad one.
yeah, but seriously, like no matter how the show turns out, we don't even know how far away it is. I don't think.
Oh, this is years out.
Go see Parasite. If you can download it. If you can watch it with a friend, watch it with a friend. If you can see it in theaters, by God,
We don't
do
suggest
that.
you illegally download anything.
Do not illegally do anything ever, in my opinion. But definitely see Parasite in any way you can. If you have to, punch someone, do it. Watch Parasite.
If you have to punch a Nazi to see Parasite.
you
It's
just
up
punch
for
a
a
Nazi
lot.
anyway.
It's up for a lot of Academy Awards. It won a couple Golden Globes, and it deserves Picture of the Year, in my opinion.
Honestly, because a lot of people aren't going to watch it because it is a foreign language film.
Right.
The closest thing that we can get, aside from just remaking Parasite for an English audience,
Yeah, will probably be the HBO show.
which Bong is already made movies for English
Yes.
audiences anyway, and they're fucking great. This is going to be an extended version of it because it's a series. It's going to be for an American or Western audience. And while I have yet to see the film, I believe the work's going to probably transfer over pretty well.
Probably.
Yeah. All right,
Just based on my knowledge of the
last
film
thing
so far.
news-wise to mention, and I feel like this is a bit of a controversial topic that we'll be talking about,
Okay.
is that Sam Raimi did an AMA this last week and had a lot of questions, obviously, about the Evil Dead franchise. Now, before
okay.
we go into any
What about
further
Spider-Man 4? Did he
discussion...
say anything about Spider-Man 4?
Nothing about
Probably
Spider-Man.
not, because why? He's not in charge of that and never will be.
That one of the things to note here is that the character of Ash in Evil Dead was not retired by Sam Raimi. It was retired by Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
He was the one that said, I am done playing this character. Ash versus
I'm
the Evil
old
Dead.
and tired of having a chainsaw.
Yeah.
hand.
We're done, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, a bunch of questions about Evil Dead were asked to Sam Raimi during this whole Reddit AMA. And the two big takeaways here is that he would direct a new Evil Dead movie himself, but would only do it with Bruce. And right now,
And
Bruce
Bruce
has
doesn't
said
want to.
he doesn't want to, so there it is.
He had
But-
3 seasons of Ash versus the Walking Dead.
yeah.
That was a lot.
Ash versus
I
the
actually-
Ash versus the Walking
After,
Dead. I would watch.
I'd watch Ash versus the Walking
But
Dead.
it has to be the first 3 seasons of Walking Dead
Yeah.
as well. So it's
Yeah.
Ash versus the first
I don't know. I would watch
that
Ash
would be
versus Negan
amazing.
tonight.
Right? So the other thing was saying, well, what's the future of the Evil Dead franchise? And
Yeah.
what he said was
is no future.
they are currently shopping around trying to get a new director to work on a new Evil Dead movie. But he is going to. But he says, "I'm just going to be the producer. I am not going to be making it."
It would be so great if maybe they had a director who really wanted to continue working on the Evil Dead franchise,
Which is really funny because he was
maybe made a movie that people really just underrated because of how fucking wonderful it was. But maybe it didn't have Bruce Campbell in it, so people got a little bit butthurt because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
So he was asked
Just saying,
point
maybe
blank,
this already happened.
Would you get Fede Alvarez to make a sequel to his Evil Dead movie that he made?
Maybe.
And he said, if he would write and direct it, then yes, in a split second, I would absolutely produce that.
So if he lets Fetty write and direct it, but he will just produce it.
But
Yeah.
yes,
But if Fetty's like, hey, I got a script, I'm done.
the thing that he's already said he wants to do.
Yeah, this thing that he's been like, hey, I'm totally ready to make the next one, but I'm gonna go do these other things because you keep fucking me over, and which they're great, by the way. Like everything else he's done has been amazing.
Just go and you guys are in Hollywood. Call him right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sam Raimi produced that movie. He probably
did.
has his phone number in his fucking phone. Can I AMA him and be like, do you have his phone number? And if the answer is yes, can you just call him and make this happen right now? Because what the fuck is wrong with you?
Guys, horror in Hollywood, especially in theaters, it follows a curve. It gets either ridiculous or scary, and it goes on kind of a wave. I'm doing a little wave motion with my hand now, radio.
Right now,
We are
right
not
now,
in a spot for
we're
an
in
Evil
scary
Dead movie.
right- no.
We are in we just had Hereditary. We have Midsommar. We're
Yeah, we're
about
in
to
scary.
get. We're about to
we're
get
in
a
no,
Quiet
no,
Place
no,
2.
no.
Perfect,
I was gonna say,
because
we
the
are not-
remake is scary.
We are not in a Sam Raimi Evil Dead horror.
Correct.
We're in
We
a
are not.
Fetty
But we are in a
Evil Dead.
Fede Alvarez fucking horror.
See,
like
I didn't see the Fede Alvarez.
That was one of the movies we told you for horror night you had to see.
But yeah, but
You
we
remember-
haven't done it, have we?
I'm bumping
we
that.
we
I'm
just keep making
bumping
the
that
list.
to top of the list.
Okay.
It's
bumping that-
not funny.
I'm bumping it.
It is serious
I'm bumping
horror.
13 Ghosts out, and we're making him watch the Evil Dead.
I'm
remake.
bumping. I'm bumping
man.
out actually both of the films. I'm getting rid of. We're not doing Evil Dead. We're not doing fucking Event Horizon because those are our go-to movies.
Or
13
13
Ghosts of Event Horizon. We're gonna
13
do
Ghosts
Evil
and Event
Dead.
Horizon. Yeah, sorry. Those are our go-to movies. We're doing the remake of Evil Dead because fuck you, that movie's amazing.
And then Into Darkness for 4.5 hours of documentary.
Exactly. All right, that is everything we have for the news this week. We're going to take a small break, and when we come back, we'll be going to our main topic in the boss room.
I lost.
Oh my god.
I lost the mouse and I really couldn't see it.
So, Brooklyn, I missed your comment. What movie did you see 3 times and didn't like?
No, he was joking. It was Parasite.
Oh, Parasite. So you
Oh.
actually did like
Well,
Parasite.
I mean, maybe he's not joking. Did he actually not?
Did you actually watch the movie 3 times? Because I've only seen Star Wars twice, and my opinion is
I don't know.
that happened.
I've watched Prometheus about 10 to 15 times, and I still think it's a horrible piece of shit.
It's still good.
Yeah,
I still like Prometheus.
I keep trying.
I haven't watched it in like the last 3 years though,
I
but
keep
you know,
You love Parasite. You don't like that it's being adapted. Okay. If it stayed Korean, would you still want to see it? Like if they were just like, we're just going to take the movie but make it longer.
pro tip, by the way, we can definitely hear Hector peeing
Yes.
in the show. Flush and then open the door. Like wait till it fully
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah.
As you went,
Yeah.
and I was like, and there's the noise.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hear you peeing because we were
You
talking
know.
over it, but there was definitely like the whoosh. It's like, and James just opened the door.
There it is. Good to know. Fun facts.
This is just important because we're not. This isn't part of the podcast.
You could get some of those like sound dampeners for like right there, like from IKEA, and just do that.
I mean, yes, but the cats are just gonna claw it, like climb it. Like I mean, my claw. I mean, like they're gonna like
Yeah.
try to climb the whole thing.
So we need to see it.
It's
Yes,
not gonna be
I've
good for
had
them.
many people tell me that I need to watch Parasite. Everybody's like, it's not.
Where's
all
my
horror,
phone? We
horror,
can
like-
fucking literally book it right now.
Like-
Where's Alamo? Why do I have fucking 3 notifications? That means somebody messaged me.
All right, here, keep
Chili.
people
thing.
excited.
Yeah, I
I'm
need
gonna,
to
I'm gonna grab a round of beer for everybody.
grab beers. I'm going to talk to Brooklyn about the Alamo Draft House and how they have movies planned that I'm going to go see. I still need to go see Knives Out. That's on my. I need to do that this week. Technically, I already saw it because I
Wait,
got
did
a
he
ticket.
actually not like Parasite?
No, he liked Parasite. He doesn't
Okay.
want to be turned into a. I can't read this. I don't have my glasses
Yeah, no,
on.
I'm not sure about it being an HBO show.
All right, so yeah, New York City has an Alamo now, so that's good. And I don't know if I go and visit, my Alamo pass will work or not because it works in some cities but not other cities because it's a trial thing that they're working on. Still need to see Uncut Gems because reasons. Thank you.
Uncut Gems was great.
Do I want to see Like a Boss? I think I'm just gonna watch that one at home at some point.
Like a boss?
Tiffany Haddish and Rose Byrne in a beauty biz battle.
No, that sounds
it's the
awful.
one where they have a cosmetics line together, and I think Salma Hayek is being a bitch and fucks them over. And then I watched the trailer and was like, that's cute. I'll watch. It's going to be a watch at home.
Yeah.
Underwater, I think I need to see in theaters.
I've heard, surprisingly, I've heard good things about that.
Okay, we need to get on the show,
Bombshell,
please.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
not
do
gonna.
it.
I'm just not. I'm probably never gonna watch Bombshell.
I'll
Does
definitely
anybody want to
watch
watch the
that.
remake of The Grudge?
Yeah, I heard it's
No.
bad.
Yeah, it's awful from every review.
Okay, the
Yeah.
first American remake of The Grudge was bad enough. Ju-On was a good movie.
I like the first American remake of The Grudge.
Yeah.
The
He
one
also
from, like,
has a big thing for fucking what's her name?
Oh,
Sarah-
Naomi-
no,
no,
Sarah Michelle.
Sarah
Gellar.
Michelle Gellar was in that.
Oh,
He
right,
has like
right,
a
right, right.
fetish, like a hard fetish for her.
Which one
Can
was?
you please quit talking about my fucking wife about
Which
that?
was when that was the Ring remake. Okay.
Yeah. All right, we need to jump into this.
Let's do it.
Come to Daddy?
Oh, well, when it starts,
Yes.
we'll talk on air
Okay.
before the boss room starts.
Yes.
About Come to Daddy?
Everybody's beer open.
Beer's open.
No.
All right, let's go.
There we go. Let me find the mouse again. I really hope I did not do what I just did.
You probably just did.
I just did what I just did.
What'd you do?
He probably.
I
just fucked
clicked
it.
the actual track, which makes it highlight, which means I can only record to however long the last track was.
Well,
So
the last track
unclick
was
it?
40 minutes, so
Yeah.
I
Let's
think
not
we
make this 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we go longer than 40 minutes, we're losing whatever it is, and it's ending wherever it ends.
So let's
Sound like a
Okay.
good rule?
Yeah.
Sounds like a good rule.
let's try and power through this.
Yeah.
I mean, I get this should go on like 5 minutes. Oh. Really? Every other fucking button works, does not that one. Why is that button not working? all of a sudden?
The one that has
we
consistently worked.
run into something like this every week.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dog fucking works.
You bet dog works. Dog
Why-
better
why-
work.
Why? Every button worked except for that one. I was pleasantly surprised for once. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the boss room.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. This is our boss room. It's our final topic for the podcast, sometimes related to the news, sometimes not. This week, as we are back to the news proper, I wanted to have a little bit of fun with our boss room this week. So, what I wanted to talk about is what makes for a great multiplayer map. And before we get into this discussion, I know that this can be subjective, but there's still a lot of maps out there when you literally Google like best multiplayer maps of all time, like 10 to 15 consistent ones come up. So this week, very chill intro to 2020, nothing serious. Let's just talk about some of our favorite multiplayer maps and what makes for a great multiplayer map. If you have one off the top of your head, you can name it and just tell me about what really works for it.
So I hate to do this right off the bat, but I do have because we had a long prelude and we didn't get through all of it.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about season 4 of The Expanse, which I know you watched. And my question is,
This sounds like a diversion. Like a
it is
really
a big
far
diversion, and I'll try and make it short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you start book 4?
Yes.
Okay, how far into it are you?
They're trapped.
Okay,
Is there a
so
PvP map?
yeah, there'll be a PvP map later, but I just like, I mean, how are you receiving the book versus the show?
I will have a better opinion once I get through it.
Okay, we'll get to that then.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to you about it yet, and I've been meaning to. Okay, multiplayer maps.
All right. So the concept behind
That aside.
right now we've done talking about the Expanse for a minute.
For now,
But yeah, the thing about multiplayer maps is that there of all the millions that are made, like literally like since the dawn of fucking internet and multiplayer gaming, there's only been a handful of multiplayer maps that have been absolute standouts. Like when you say like, think of what's your perfect multiplayer map? Like if you told me right now, pick a multiplayer map off the tip of your head, I'd be like, man, Facing Worlds, Unreal Tournament. Like that's my go-to. That and King's Row from Overwatch. I'm like, those are perfectly balanced multiplayer maps that I can play over and over again.
King's Row actually breaks what my
just-
my favorite thing for what I love about PvP maps is.
What is
I
that?
love King's Row. It's hands down, I think, probably my favorite map in Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
But for, let's say, more traditional first-person shooter games, I like symmetry in my maps. I like the spawn sides to be very symmetrical, with a center point that is accessible, where you have some long lanes for sniping stuff, you have some shorter lanes for close quarters combat. You have the variance in that. I like the symmetry of it because it allows both teams to have equal footing.
So give me a good multiplayer.
It's more chess, not checkers.
Give me a good example of great symmetry in a multiplayer map.
Actually, one of my favorite ones for Halo is Blood Gulch. Is pretty symmetrical.
Can I? Okay, so you just said chess, not checkers. I feel like symmetrical maps are checkers.
No, actually, when you're playing checkers, if you're playing professional, like high-end checkers,
What-
no game can start at the red versus black phase.
Right.
You have to start with a pre-starting game, because checkers, if you start at the default, every piece is in its starting position.
Will end the same way every time.
Yeah, the first person to move will always win.
Right.
You have to play at a different level, which is why I'm saying.
Which is why I think perfectly symmetrical maps are checkers, because that's kind of how that goes. The first person to make a move kind of wins. And,
See, I feel like
here's the point that I'm trying to make is in a good multiplayer map, and this is my opinion, since yours is symmetry, mine is much more in the vein of King's Row and a lot of other maps, in that there are sections of the map that play very differently from other sections of the map. So when you're at a certain point, there's sniping windows, and there are places for like heavy hitters to hide on the low ground, and there's people. There's an area you absolutely have to move through to progress, and then in another section of the map, it's perfectly symmetrical, and you're just waiting for one team to advance, one team.
So
to get
for
the
you,
advantage.
like a map like Facing Worlds, even though it's symmetrical, because there is an internal structure that you kind of have to fight through, that provides a variance to it, where that maybe you're not great at being a sniper,
Right.
So you're not trying to like hit people from across the map, but if you can be the grunt that gets to that base, that can get in and do the thing, you at least have an advantage because you've gotten in and done the thing.
I think my main point is, like, in something like Blood Gulch, if you love to like get in a warthog or a tank, you can do that the entire map. If you like to snipe, you can grab a sniper, run up into the cliffs, do that the entire map. If you like to just run around and throw grenades, you can do that the entire map, whatever you're doing. In King's Row, there are moments, if you're a sniper, where you shine, and there are moments where you are worthless. And I like maps like that, where you have to change your playstyle to adjust for what's happening in emergent.
That's actually one of the interesting things that you bring up in this, is that it's the play style for the type of game, specifically game modes.
Yeah.
So King's Row, if it was a traditional just firefight, Team A versus Team B straight up kill each other, it doesn't function that well.
No.
But because it's a payload and objective based game,
Right.
if you're playing the objective, it works very well. King's Row is one of my favorite maps because when you are playing the objective, it has pros and cons for both teams based on the layout of it. And that's one thing that I like. But the type of game that I play, where it's more control points
Right.
and or just free range killing, I like symmetrical maps because it's harder to get spawn camped into a bad point position,
Right.
to where you can only respawn this one place and you're just going to keep getting fucked over and over again in that one spot, which happens with asymmetrical maps. There's always going to be one place where these choke points just work out, and you can control these 2 points and just basically
and you
fucking
win the
just
map.
hose the other team.
Yeah.
That's one things that King's Row doesn't have because it's not that game type. And that comes down to, it's not necessarily what are our favorite PvP maps, it's kind of what are our favorite PvP maps for specific game modes.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
fair.
can see that, because there are questions that I've kind of written down as we discussed, like what makes for a great multiplayer map. But questions like how important are weapon spawn locations don't apply to Overwatch. But
They don't apply to a lot of games
But they do
anymore.
apply to like Quake.
Yeah,
Like how
for sure.
Yeah, or
Unreal
games
Tournament.
where
Quake or
there's
Unreal
health
Tournament.
packs
Yeah.
or certain weapons, or
Where's
ammos.
the quad damage?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where's the one that allows me to use the rocket launcher because it's my secondary weapon? You have to go find the secondary weapon
Right.
location.
And we saw stuff like that in Quake Champions, where we brought old maps back, and we had new maps, and they were like the old school style, like rocket launchers here, fucking sniper rifles there, crazy, pulse rifles there.
And when I brought up Blood Gulch, the sniper rifle always spawned on top of the building for both sides. But that's not the best sniping position because if you went up there to get that sniper rifle,
You're gonna
the
get
other guy
sniped.
can fucking hit you because he's already has it.
Right.
And it was very easy to take that person out if you were going for that weapon. And you had to remember, you had to know that, like, can I get one of my teammates to go scout that sniper for me so I can get the sniper rifle to go do the exact same thing to them.
And when we talk about multiplayer maps, one of the things we have to obviously talk about is size important? Is the number of players that you have on a map important? And Brooklyn's bringing it up in
Player
chat
number
right
is very
now.
important.
So Brooklyn's bringing it up in chat where, like, in Resistance, they had like a 64-player kill mode.
Correct.
But everybody was basically like, it's junk.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
fact,
it was crap.
In Halo, if you go to play the big team battle mode, nobody plays it.
Nope.
Like, nobody wants to play big team battle.
It was Big Team Battle was interesting, but it just took too fucking long, and there were too many people, and you couldn't pay attention to what's going on.
So that was another question that I had for this. When we talk about the best multiplayer maps out there, is map length important?
I think it has to be.
Is the amount of time, because is it better to get in and out of a game on? Let's pretend a game only has one map. Let's pretend it's the most brilliant multiplayer map in the world.
There's something that all of us need to
Fortnite.
remember about life. Length is important, and the number of people on the field is important. These are two things that generally in life you need to remember are very important.
So, but does a map's length really determine how good it is? I'm not saying that if the shorter the map, the better the map.
Right.
What I'm saying is that a map that at least a bad map, if it's only 3 minutes long, is only 3 minutes long.
Correct.
But a good map that's 7 minutes long is 7 minutes long, too long for a player that's not doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've played some maps where they are maps that are considered good maps on things like Halo or Destiny or fucking Call of Duty, where it was like, this is a good map. This is one of the best ones, but I was not on my game that day.
Yeah.
I was maybe sick and I was like in the cold and I was playing like shit. And those, what generally would be a 5-minute game, felt like 25 minutes because I'm playing like shit.
Yeah.
I'm just getting hosed. I'm not having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the map's fault because I'm playing like shit.
Yeah.
But there should be some kind of recourse for the game to be like, you're playing like shit. I'm sorry your spawns are awful.
Yeah, you should probably have to consider like the type of game you're playing. There are some maps in the new Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare one, that are just nonstop. You're getting shot from above you. Like,
I've watched some of our friends play it, and I was looking. It's like, how the fuck are you playing this? This is awful.
Yeah,
like
and-
you're just literally spawning and having people shooting immediately at you.
yeah, and then that happens, and that can happen in Destiny. That can happen in a lot of different games where like
Yeah.
you're spawning, you get shot. But I mean, when maps are firing on all cylinders, they're great. But sometimes a really great asymmetrical map will be terrible because the teams are really uneven.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
the
I
other
think-
thing is skill level for player base is something that has to be taken into consideration. Whenever you're going, this is something that's like the big other thing aside from just map layout that the PvP community has to deal with is the skill versus connection matchmaking.
Right.
Like, do you want to be matched on skill, which is, how good you are? Do you want to match with somebody who plays just as good as you, but is also might be in the other side of the world who has a really shitty connection and now they're lagging all over the place?
Yeah.
Or do you want to have connection based where you play against people who are really close to you? And it's a really fast game, but that person is on your team might be have fucking potatoes for thumbs,
True.
or might be
And-
the world's best player.
And
Yeah.
what makes for a good multiplayer map isn't purely relegated to a game that has 15 different map types.
True. I
If
mean,
you
look
take
at Dota.
I was gonna say, you take a game like Dota, it's had essentially the same map since its inception.
Yep,
But
one map.
a game like Smite, which I've come back to recently, that map has changed. Like, I did not recognize, even though the same basic layout was the same, there were so many nuanced things that were so different that still made it feel welcome and refreshing.
One of the things I liked about the Smite maps that they didn't have in like the leagues or the other
In Dota.
the Dota games, was, they're all still basically 3 lines. You got a line in the middle, a line on the side, left, and a line on the right.
Yeah.
But in between, you had these side streets, let's call them. The one thing I liked about, I think it was Smite, was it had actually height differences in the map. It wasn't just walk from lane A to lane B. It was the walk to lane A, fuck, there's a cliff, I can't go that way.
Right.
But you could stay on top of it and get snipe down to the other guys, and they couldn't hit you because you're too far up, and that was the point of it. I was like, that's kind of cool. That actually, the elevation point matters for something that... Because whenever I think about, like, what are your favorite PvP maps, I don't think of MOBAs. Because I don't play them.
Right.
But when I've watched enough of them to play, I'm like, there's actually some fun MOBA maps that are out there.
And Brooklyn's out there right now in chat talking about this, saying that some of the best maps that exist currently that are multiplayer maps used to take advantage of spectator mode. So that some of the best maps are not just for the players, they're built in such a way that the viewers observing it feel the tension along with the game.
It's another really good example
Overwatch
of
is really
Overwatch.
good. Again, King's Row is great because it has great camera angles. And as a person who likes camera angles, and I'm sorry if you watch this on twitch.tv, you have to deal with the one.
Yeah, we have
the one. If you want
the
to donate
one.
to the show to buy more webcams, cool, do that, and I'll make more camera angles show up. I just don't got more cameras.
Right.
Cat cam.
Cat cam.
I will literally live stream the cat if you give me money to do it.
Bubba cam.
That sounded gross, weirdly. To me, it's like Bubba Cam just sounds gross. No, that's one thing that I've loved about Halo for quite a long time is Forge.
Yeah,
they were like,
Forge.
hey, you can make your own maps. We will give you literally the tools that we make to make the game, and you can just sit there on your keyboard and mouse, your controller, make a map. And then they've made some of the community-based maps are some of the best. I can't name them off the top of my head.
Right.
But are some of the best maps to exist in Halo.
Yeah.
Were just made by people. And there's fun maps where you just decided to make the Enterprise because that was one of the first things somebody did in Forge was
Yeah,
make
of course.
the USS Enterprise. And you're like, that's huge. You couldn't play in it.
I played
but
that
it was
in
cool.
Doom a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That was our
Yeah,
go-to
no.
multiplayer map.
The idea, Doom had map creation.
Oh, yeah.
Unreal
Quake.
Tournament.
Quake 3.
All
Oh,
of these
man.
ones, Halo, map creation and community involvement to make maps better is awesome because you can take the pre-existing map and go, well, the spawn sucks. We're going to slightly move those. We're going to change the weapon layout to this. And oh my God, you take this shitty map and all of a sudden it's amazing because the tweaks were finally there. It took thousands of people using man hours to develop something that took a couple people, a couple man hours because that's just price to development costs.
Yeah.
Does
I get that.
Does a multiplayer map need to showcase everything in the game? Does
No.
it need to like show all the weapons or all the cool textures the developers
there's
came up
Maybe
with?
maybe if it's like the guaranteed first multiplayer map you'll play.
Yeah, if you
on,
all right,
but-
so there should be maps that are good universal maps. And There
Right.
should be universal parts to every map. There should be at least one good sniping lane. There should be at least one good hallway. That's just kind of the way maps go. So you get the close quarters, you get the long range, and everything else should be decent amount of mid
Yeah,
range.
but when you think about trying to shove that design philosophy of showcasing everything the game has to offer into every map, the maps get really samey really fast. Just in your head.
But
just
there
in
should be maps that
designing.
have really long lanes that's great for sniping or great for like single shot weapons where you can just sit there and ding someone's head over and over again. And there should also be maps where those characters or players or weapon types aren't useful. And it's the close quarter peoples that are going to shine. Somebody's going to run around with a shotgun. Somebody's going to have a grenade launcher right in your fucking face.
Yeah.
Where you have to run around corners and be scared.
Yep.
Because someone's going to be there and go boom and you're fucking dead. That's the great thing about King's Row. It has, though it's, because it's a linear map, it has all of those elements into it. It has those long lines, it has those close quarters, and it keeps moving those aspects down the line. It's through all of them. So people that aren't watching us live, I'm trying to make like a straight line for King's Row versus something that I called symmetrical maps, which are more of a triangle.
Yeah.
And the triangle maps are great because you get a little bit of everything and you're not fucked over on either team versus King's Row, which is just a straight line essentially, and everybody gets a point to shine within that. The ones that I'm saying that are bad are the ones that are too much of sniping in one point or too much of close quarters in one point.
Yeah.
If you're going for a straight
If
line.
everybody's picking the
or even a
same weapon
triangle,
in a certain map,
then it's a
then you're
problem.
probably
Yeah,
having an issue
it's
with
easy
it.
to design
You're
an
gonna have a bad
over
time.
advantage in a map just because you don't know how tactical advantages work. Yeah. And you'd be like, oh, well, this is a good sniping point, but maybe it's a little too high. Maybe you never get the right vantage if you're on the bottom, and if someone's up there, they just rule the roost. It's easy to design a map badly, especially if you're trying to make a point with a certain thing that you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just cover a few maps that
absolutely.
In my research, I pulled up a bunch of different web pages and said, all right, what are the ones that have stood out in my head as people have written down as the goats when it comes to maps? So the first one that popped up, very obviously, Blood Gulch.
Yeah. Halo 1, Halo 2, Blood Gulch for sure.
And the iteration that has just existed in every single Halo. It had Coagulation was one of its other names. It has like 3 other names because every version of Halo has had at some point a version of this map.
And since Halo 1, most games with fan-made map capabilities have had a Blood Gulch.
To be fair, I would have thrown a little bit
community.
of like Red versus Blue probably did make it a little bit more popular.
They did make it
was
popular.
a great map.
Weirdly, all right, so I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Blood Gulch was the really big one. With the long lines, sniping lines. You could sit there with a DMR from really far away. There was actually one that has the little walkway on the top. Same thing, 2 little bases, very close together. They also brought up in Red versus Blue. I mean, every map was brought up in Red versus Blue. But it was really close together, and it was the same thing, but there's no sniping in that map because it's nothing but close quarters. Yeah. Blood Gulch I loved because it allowed for the variety of somebody who wanted to be a camper and sat in the back, or somebody that wanted to drive a Warthog. Yeah. But then there's the other one that I can't remember the fucking name of. It was really close together. There was no Warthogs because you could literally
there's no space.
Spawn, and you're like, there's the dude!
Yeah.
And you had to deal with that, and the game got much faster and more fun. And it kind of came down to like, how long did you want the game to take? I mean, sometimes 15-minute games, really good back and forth. You know, that score's just, sitting at like 49, 50, 52, 40. Like, it's just going back and forth, back and forth. That feels great. And it could be on big maps or small maps. The back and forth is the more important part. When you're playing somebody of decent enough skill, on a good connection, on a place where you are using weapons that you're good with. And I mean that in a way that
you can click heads and like you can reliably do things.
Yeah, you can do the thing with weapons that you are comfortable with. Like, let's take Overwatch for example. There are characters in that game that I straight up can't play.
Right.
I don't know how to click heads with them. They are weird.
I am not a Doomfist player by any stretch.
Doomfist cannot. I don't know how Doomfist works. I've gotten him on random hero, and I go, I don't know what the fuck. I just kill myself to make it go away. Same thing with Healy Boopy Boy.
Lucio, my first main.
I cannot figure out how to play Lucio. I'm like, I don't know. He's weird and confusing to me.
He's fun.
You give me Junkrat, I'm like, I walk slow and blow shit up over there. Yeah. Got it. Done. Lucio, I know how to do that.
Lucio, you play God. If you're doing your job correctly, no one knows you did anything at all.
Yep.
See that, and that's the thing is like within like Destiny is a game that I play PvP a lot. I just finished a shitload of PvP achievements this week. Yeah. Because I decided to say fuck it and went to town and decided to do it. I'm currently working on having to use a weapon type that I am not good with. Yeah. So I'm just sitting in the back, just my KD is just through the ground. Yep. Versus previously when it was like, use whatever weapon you want. I was, top of the leaderboard, doing great. And it's like, nope, you got to use this weapon that you don't want to use. And I'm like, fuck me.
I guess I'll do that then.
I guess I'll do that and be awful at this. That's what I mean. Like, you have to have a game that fits your play style.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think I've gone along.
No. My final thoughts on maps will be along those lines, but we'll get there.
But for like Blood Gulch, one of the reasons people love it so much is that it's completely symmetrical.
Any kind of game.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's actually not completely symmetrical. It is asymmetrical, but every map has. If it was completely symmetrical, it would be boring as shit to play PvP games.
Then we have games like Quake 3 Arena. There was The Longest Yard.
Oh man, I haven't thought about that map in a long time.
Symmetrical.
I haven't thought about a movie in a long time.
It's symmetrical, but with no walls.
Right.
It has jump platforms. It's got like high-powered weapons, but to be good at The Longest Yard, you have to click the best heads.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no dodging around and hiding behind a wall and be like, I'm going to be like Solid Snake. No, The Longest Yard takes no prisoners.
Yeah, no. You find your one-hit kill, like, charge up time, like super laser, and you click heads with it, hopefully. And so that map actually brings up a lot of really good memories of high school for me, because there was some mode in Quake the Arena that you could get that was like very low gravity, one-hit kill gun that had like a click shoot, but like it recharged, so you couldn't just click, click, click.
Right.
And it had like a grappling hook that gave you like momentum.
Oh, okay.
So you would play on the longest yard, and you'd like grapple onto things and just get crazy momentum and throw yourself across the map. But your gun, if you missed, was worthless for about 3 seconds. Ooh. So everyone was just like, pew! Oh god, I missed.
Your shots truly count.
Yeah.
And if you not, run the fuck away.
Yeah. So that's my favorite memory of that map, is being in a mode where like if you can't click a person, you will have 0 score. Wow. So you better get your shit together. And also, if you don't move fast, you're gonna get dominated. And stuff like that like really teaches you to play the game. That's my bread and butter.
You know, interesting. Brooklyn just brought this up in chat, and I didn't think about this kind of going into the discussion, but he says we got to think back to old school games. Think about like the original like Mario NES balloon fight, Joust.
Those were very symmetrical.
These are symmetrical maps that were PvP, and you had very limited tools, and you had to be better than the other person.
Yeah, so you had to find the little mechanics.
This is bad gamer me.
Sure.
I never understood the point of the Mario versus Luigi weird level thing where you had to grab the things and go back and forth and up and
like the POW block and
the original Mario
the turtle shells.
Like I know it was the original Mario Brothers, but why the fuck was that also added into the regular Mario Brothers? Like it made no sense.
Why it was a bonus game.
Just classic.
Like I would play the game and then get to that. I'm like, why the fuck is this here? Like, I never understood it.
Let's talk about. We have to talk about a classic real quick, even if you guys didn't play it. D-Dust.
Oh yeah,
Counter-Strike.
I played a lot of Counter-Strike.
Played a lot of Counter-Strike myself.
I can actually draw D-Dust from memory on a piece of paper right now.
Absolutely. When you talk about classic multiplayer maps, if you're not talking about D-Dust, then what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about at that point. I mean, D-Dust, and while it may not be the cleverest map, it's very realistic.
Yeah.
And the doors all make sense. The choke points all make sense from
that was a game
standpoint.
and a map that specifically said always check doors.
Yeah, doors and corners. Kid.
Yeah, doors and corners all the time.
No, and that's one of the reasons why Call of Duty, not Call of Duty,
Counter-Strike.
I just read Call of Duty on your screen, so I was like,
we're getting there.
Yeah, so that's the reason one of the reasons Counter-Strike has been around for so long because that map alone is. Just kind of perfect, and yes, it is not a symmetrical map. The way I said, which was what I prefer, but that isn't a truly multi-objective based map.
It's easy to understand. It's like when you're a kid and you're on a playground or in like one of those like this is me dating myself like in a McDonald's play place.
Yeah,
and you crawl through the little thing with all the tubes, but by your first time through it, you have a good idea of where everything is.
You know the layout,
and then you can like run through it and be like, I know where everything is. Fuck yeah, and that's what DE Dust felt like.
It doesn't have those stupid. Well, here's a closet that yes you can fit into and sit there and hide in a corner with a shotgun because the game is awful and decided to put that in there.
The term you're looking for is that everything in D-Dust is fair.
Yeah,
every single thing.
It's not meant for people to just sit there and be campers.
Yeah,
correct.
You have to go out and actually do shit. Otherwise, the other person's going to go out and do shit and kill you very quickly.
Yeah, and the thing about D-Dust is if you had a camper, you could always flank them. There was always another way around to where somebody was.
We brought up Facing Worlds from Unreal Tournament. Again, like Blood Gulch, it is...
It's symmetrical, but like super classic, super high vantage points for that Unreal Tournament style, like mega across the world sniping.
Literally, this was above the earth.
Yeah,
you know?
but you could like snipe someone from like, and we say this a lot, but literally across the map. Like they could be the size of a pixel on your screen, and you could snipe the shit out of them.
Yeah,
and that was something that made Facing World so cool. Is if you really wanted to get into it, you could just like give your balls a tug and cross that ravine and get into the enemy's base and hopefully fuck them up because they're all trying to snipe.
But hope their sniper's not better than you.
But hope their sniper sucks because you got to run like 100 yards to get over there.
Yep. Rust from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I feel like this is one of the more modern-esque, like very iconic maps.
That was probably the last Call of Duty I played.
Like Rust, everything about it, it was just very well designed. It was one, again, kind of like D-Dust, where you just have to have a higher skill threshold.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I'm coming back to more and more on these multiplayer maps is that it doesn't have to be, everything has to be the exact same across the board. It doesn't have to be the most well laid out, but a good multiplayer map is one that makes everybody feel like when you get killed, it was due to a skill level gap, not oh, LOL, he was hiding behind a door.
Yeah, someone's always hiding there.
Being
versus...
being out of place at the incorrect time.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus, and this is something that goes back to like my old Halo days of sitting there like, I'm going to go over there because I know that's where the weapon or the ammo spawns at.
Right.
And I'm going to go over there and do the thing. But there's a guy who's been sitting there the entire map, literally doing nothing but waiting for me to go around a corner to go boom, and you're dead. Yeah. And that's his entire job is to do that, which is why I fucking hate campers because they are worthless. And yeah, they do get some kills, but they're sitting in a room doing nothing, being alone, in a game and in real life.
So I guess we would be remiss if not to mention one of my favorite old school games of all time as somebody that there's a reason why I played Torb when I started Overwatch.
Oh, yeah.
It's because my favorite game, my earliest multiplayer game was Team Fortress. Like
Team Fortress
old school,
or Team Fortress 2?
Both.
Oh, okay.
I played both. I did play the Quake version, but I played more of the Valve version.
Right.
Team Fortress 2. But Engineer was my class.
I love Team Fortress.
Love being a huge Engineer fan. But 2 Fort is the definitive. I think if we had to pick one that comes off the just top of your head, because it just goes back, the history of it goes back so far.
Yeah. And you did have like the symmetry with the 2 bases linked by a bridge.
Right.
But the bridge was covered.
Right.
So you couldn't be sniped while you were on it. But there was also like a emptied lake underneath it that you could go through to get to the other bridge. And there were tunnels and you could snipe from either side, like overlooking the bridge. Or if you were like one of the little quick runners with a bat, you could just run across it super fucking fast.
And Brooklyn brings up a good point. I don't think that we would have Overwatch the way that it exists today.
Oh, without
if
Team
it wasn't
Fortress?
Team
No,
Fort, Team
never.
Fortress, and Team Fort.
Literally, this map is the reason Overwatch exists, in my opinion. And I think that, yes, this map was fucking fun, and it's still great, and it's going to go down as possibly one of the best maps of all time.
Agreed.
Because of... it allowed everybody to shine, and that's what I said. It has a bit for everybody.
In a game with character classes, it allowed every class to do something.
Yeah, and that's the thing is whenever you have to look at like in some games there's weapon classes, and you have to have weapon classes.
Think
think
about what Team Fortress brought to the table. Team Fortress brought to the table the concept that you can play a character that is literally a healer and actually will affect what is going on in the battlefield.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You wouldn't have Mercy if it wasn't for that. You wouldn't have Baptiste. You wouldn't have any of that
if it wasn't for
the medic.
If it wasn't for medic, you'd never have Mercy.
I mean, I'm still pro taking Mercy out of the game. Just she's basically useless.
She's incredible. I have won more games as Mercy in platinum rank than I've played any other character.
I would
in
like
Overwatch.
anybody to ever learn how to play Mercy because no one knows.
All right.
I played Mercy very well.
Let's kind of wrap this whole thing up. I know we've been going on for a little bit. I know we've had a lot of differing opinions about things. So I'm going to do like one more roundtable discussion. What makes a good multiplayer map in your opinion? And just pick one off the top of your head that you really love, even if we've already mentioned it. Tony, go.
I was going to go with, I think it was Skyburners off the original Destiny 1.
Nice.
It was basically a symmetrical map. It was more triangle shaped. It had an internal base where the 2 teams could run into, or they could go down to the other control points. And it was very well laid out. It had great sniping lanes, had a lot of close quarters stuff. It allowed for a lot of variance in gameplay. It's one that I really wish they would bring back into D2 because it was just fucking fun to play. And
I love that map.
And it was one of the things I just really enjoyed playing. I appreciate the asymmetrical kind of crazy-esque maps that we've discussed.
There's something that we haven't even
Clicking
mentioned on
heads
here,
game.
like Lockout in Halo 2 is not. It's a very complicated map.
I didn't really like Lockout.
Yeah, a lot of people do like Lockout.
I'm not a big fan of that. I've had bad experiences.
That's
Let's
fair.
put it that way. And a lot of it comes down to one of the things I like about good maps is I want everybody to have a time to shine. I want to, if I'm having a bad day and I know I'm not doing it good at close quarter stuff, I'm not good at shotgunning, maybe I can stay in the back and I can use a single shot and just kind of like ding away at people's health.
Right.
Or if maybe I'm having like a day where I'm like super amped up, I'm caffeined out of my fucking mind, and I can run around with fucking like close quarters guns and I can do a shitload of damage really fast and I can just get in and out really quick.
Right.
and it kind of depends on my mood. I want games.
You want a map to be almost capable of handling anything where you are in the
handling
game.
my moods and my expectations.
Yeah.
I don't want a map. I don't want to get spawn camped. That is the worst thing that can happen in any game. Is instantly when you're spawned in and go, cool. Yeah, you didn't get instant killed. You walked 10 feet around a corner and then instantly got killed. I consider that
someone was
instant
waiting
kill
for
because
you.
you were, you literally couldn't get out of your spawn zone and you were locked into this and they're just going to keep feeding kills off of you. And that shit sucks. And I do like that games are trying to find a good balance between connection versus skill. And maps do have to come down with that because certain maps do go to higher skill level and good connections make for faster gameplay and better gameplay in some cases. And it's about the balance, which is one of the reasons why I do like symmetrical maps. It's about the balance.
about that
It's about the balance.
Yeah.
Balance of weapons types, balance of hero characters, if that's your thing, balance of classes. You have to have. You can't just go one sided because the moment you go one sided, it's gonna tip and it's just gonna fall on the floor.
All right.
Whether it be map or characters, whatever.
All right, Hector, what about you? Favorite map if you had to pick one?
So I'm gonna you give me a minute. I'm gonna circle around to where we
Oh
are.
man, we got a small novel going on here.
What is the most emulated and most taught video game level on Earth ever in history?
Mario 1-1.
Mario 1-1.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It has all the basics.
Because it teaches you to play the game.
Right.
Okay, I think I see where you're going now.
When
I was
you-
like, Mario 1-1 is not a PvP map.
Hector
It'd be
is
a lot cooler than it was.
IQ 9000 plus right now. Let's go.
When you think about a game like Halo or a game like Overwatch, a game like Halo in which everyone's on the same playing field, they can access all the same weapons, etc. Or a game like Overwatch where every character you pick is a
Different
different
health.
thing, like Team Fortress, different health, different weapons, different
movement
strategies.
speed.
A great multiplayer map teaches you to play the game. And when I look at a map like King's Row,
Right.
I look at a game where you have a defending team that probably, all things being equal, everyone new to the game, everyone just having no idea what anything does. When you set up on defense, you're probably have an advantage because you're just keeping people from moving forward.
Right.
Technically,
But-
defense should always be at the advantage.
But if you are learning the game, if you are learning what your supers do, if you're learning what your tactical advantages are and where you should be standing, then the attacking team will learn how to combine their efforts and overcome the obstacle of getting point one.
Right.
And then you move directly into this narrow corridor where everything changes. And suddenly you're like, maybe I should switch characters. Maybe I should learn a new thing. Maybe I should adopt a different strategy. And all of a sudden you're learning Overwatch. That is what King's Row does for you. Same thing with Blood Gulch. If you're in a game where everyone can have the same weapons, maybe you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't just run to the other base and try and kill people. Maybe
with basically a
Right.
fully automatic gun that has
Yeah.
no range whatsoever.
Right, maybe I should step up on a cliff while my friend runs across, and now that's tactics. Now I'm learning to play Halo.
That's why the one I was forgetting was the Counter-Strike. Was it Redust or
Yeah,
whatever?
D-Dust.
D-Dust. That is why I like that one, because it teaches you kind of everything you need to know about Counter-Strike.
Right, and so that's where I am with what makes a great multiplayer map. A great multiplayer map, and this is very true, and especially true with Overwatch and the specific Overwatch maps that they put in every mode, is that if you are playing the game and are playing the game with an intent to learn, it will teach you how to be a better player.
I agree. You know, that's a lot to process. These are all really great opinions. I think for me, when I think about great multiplayer maps, I have two ones in my head that are first place for me. Facing Worlds from Unreal Tournament, just because I spent a lot of time playing Unreal Tournament. It was my first big foray into esports, was playing a lot of Unreal Tournament. And then Eichenwald in Overwatch.
Oh, Eichenwald, that's a good one.
And Eichenwald is essentially King's Row with a
love
German
Eichenwald.
twist. I get it.
It's the not as good as King's Row map.
But seriously, if you put King's Row and Eichenwald in front
It's
of
the
me
Kmart
every
of
single time, I will always pick Eichenwald.
I will pick
Because,
Eichenwald too.
It's seriously a very solid map, because the reason I picked that one is that in King's Row, everything is very linear. In Eichenwald, there are spots where you can be dropped off the fucking map.
You sure it's not because you play Reinhardt a lot?
I think
also that.
I think it's pretty much because you play Reinhardt a lot.
So there's a path that the payload
You know,
has
like,
to
lost a
travel in
huge battle.
King's Row,
Right.
And it's very linear, and there's like a very specific walled off corridor.
Yeah,
around
it's
the
all
payload.
walled off in
In
King's Row.
Eichenwald, the path the payload travels can be covered from the air from anywhere on the map.
yeah.
So
and that's
there's
the
a
reasons
lot
why I
more to
don't like
worry
it,
about.
because Farah can fuck right off.
Exactly.
Unless there's a widow, in which case, yeah.
Also,
you please
there's-
play a
there-
Farah.
Dude, there's like 5 good Widow players in the world. and I never played
There's
with
also
them.
a bridge which you can be knocked off.
Oh, yeah.
and thrown into the abyss like,
yeah.
multiple times.
There's-
Oh yeah, there are
There's
abysses
so much-
everywhere.
It's
in
King's
Eichenwald.
Row, but like in hardcore mode.
Yeah,
in
that's
my
like
opinion.
King's Row 211, and
Right.
also with but has done a little
As
cocaine.
a person who likes Junkrat way too much, that map is really fun for me. Like, that's cute. You're over there now.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
think-
you're on the other side of the wall now. I'm with you.
So I think when it comes to what makes a great multiplayer map, while we all may have differing opinions about what that is, a lot of us can come down to the fact that a great multiplayer map teaches a player about the environment, helps them to adapt, and if they play it long enough, can really make them a better player just by playing that map repeatedly and understanding the nuances of it instead of just being a flat surface where people shoot
Maybe
each
that's
other.
why I like
Right.
symmetrical maps, because they allow, because I know the maps that I like.
Yeah.
And I know that they're not one-sided. And any map that I know that isn't, that I know how to become one-sided, I don't like, because then I'm either beating the shit out of somebody or getting
Right.
my dick stomped in.
Right.
I don't want to be on either side of that.
Right.
I like it whenever I get that, 49, 45.
Yeah.
Wait, 50 to, 43.
Yep.
I like the back and forth kind of, who's going to win this shit?
To be fair, I've heard that you only like to pay to have your dick stomped in.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You don't want to do it for free online.
Honestly, I mean, if you're not paying for it, what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's everything we have for the show this week. If you have any opinions about multiplayer maps, seriously, tell us what your favorite multiplayer maps are.
Yeah.
Tell us why they are, because this is such a fascinating topic, and I just want to hear like people busting some really weird shit on me.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite.
I want you people to remind me of maps that I played. Like, fuck, that was good.
That-
Yeah, or tell us your favorite multiplayer map is from like what's the Squid Game and on the Switch?
Oh god, just
Yeah.
like from
Yeah, we're just gonna call it the Squid Game because I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, it's
Squid something.
Splatoon.
Splatoon,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Tell me your favorite map is from Splatoon 2, and then educate
Tell us
me
what your
about it.
favorite PvP map
I played a bit
in
of Splatoon.
fucking
It is fun.
Super Smash Brothers is
Yeah.
because reasons. All right, that is everything we have for the show this week. Thank you for coming back to 2020 with us. Oh man, we have so much.
We're in the
cool-
future now.
We
Yeah,
are in the
we have a
future.
lot to do
We have
this
so
year.
much cool shit in store for you. Like, hold on to your butts, as somebody in Jurassic Park once said.
Hold your butts firmly and also vote.
And if you can, just put a little pinky in the tank.
But until then, Tony, where can they find us? Where can they talk to us?
Well, first off, if you want to donate the show, do that on twitch.tv/nerd Monday about 7:30 Central, or whenever you want to hit the donate button on there, or on our website, SurlyNerd.com. If you want to give us your opinion about the maps, do so on Twitter's at the Surly Nerd. If you would like to give us suggestions for our boss room fights, do that through the donation button of the previously mentioned things, because that's the only way I'm going to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
Secondly, we have our email address, info@thesurlyNerd.com. If you want to do that, it's an email. Nobody does that unless you want to do a +1, and
Right.
if you do that, I'll fucking kill you, because +1s are dumb.
Hey, if you're interested at all in listening to us talk about a movie you think we haven't seen, give us a suggestion.
We will listen to those without donations.
Yeah.
But if you want us to do boss rooms, you have to give us money.
Yeah,
That's my executive decision on that.
That's fair. I'll take it.
We have a Patreon for that.
Yeah, we
do
have a
have a
Patreon for
Patreon
that.
for that.
Go to patreon.com/nerd, do
Yeah.
that, and join the ones of people who have joined that. That's something that we're discussing, a lot of behind the scenes stuff coming up for the next year.
Yep.
We don't want to share any of that with you because we're stingy assholes and we want to make you pay for it, which is part of our global domination
if
plan.
we're putting New Year's resolutions up for everybody to hear, we're never gonna follow through with it.
no, I don't do any of that
Like,
shit.
we're just not gonna do
Think
it.
about New Year's
Small
resolutions no one's
victories.
following.
It's about small victories.
Yeah.
The key is creating what's the word habits for yourself. So like
Yeah.
if you make a habit of telling us what you would like us to do, we'll make a habit of doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I actually told everybody that was like, I'm going to do New Year's resolution. I was like, okay, well, start in November.
Yeah.
Because then by January, you're used to it and you're going to keep doing it because that's the way
And I
you
just
do.
want to take a moment to again thank everybody who watches on Twitch or honestly any of our platforms or anybody
yeah.
that's donated. We have a new lighting rig that
Yeah.
Tony put up this week that is
Hopefully it looks
beautiful.
okay.
Yeah, we
You
look
like-
a little less washed out this week, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is kind
I'm
of
actually
very
a lot
shiny because
I feel very
don't have
professional
hair.
right now.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like I'm in
Just
the
wait
spotlight.
until I have like LEDs glowing up behind us
Yeah.
that are going to change based on the scenes. I can do that with
I
buttons.
might have to get into makeup
I have
tube
fucking
and just
plans,
like, dust us
motherfuckers.
up before the
Please
show.
pay me. Someone give me money to make the things that I want to make happen.
That's everything we have for the show this week. Until next week, for
All
Tony,
right.
this is James.
For James, this is Tony.
And I'm Hector.
Good night and good game. Hey, I didn't.
Hey,
pronounce
click
Thank
that
it.
you,
wrong.
Internet.
Thanks,
right.
Brooklyn, so much for hanging out.
Thank you. Goodbye. I'm done talking now.